Outside the Silverdome, it's a beautiful summer day in Pontiac, Michigan. Inside the Silverdome, it's also a beautiful summer day. But then, it's always a beautiful summer day under the fiberglass roof here. Temperatures 72 degrees, never a drop of rain. We're here to see the Chicago Sting visit the Detroit Express in an important North American Soccer League game. It's important for both teams, but particularly for Detroit. As you can see here, they're in third place in their division behind Chicago. To qualify for the playoffs, they must either pass Chicago or win a wild card spot. Either way, victory today is vital for them. Good afternoon. I'm Jim McKay speaking to you from our ABC commentary position here. This has been another week of interesting developments in the North American Soccer League. Attendance, first of all, on the 4th of July, they had 45,000 people in Tampa Bay, 43,000 in Los Angeles, which was easily a record for that franchise. On the negative side, yesterday, during the New York Cosmos practice at Giant Stadium in New Jersey, an empty stadium there, suddenly there was a fracas between some Cosmos players and some stadium workers who were cleaning out the grandstands, as a result of which 3 of the workers went to the hospital. Now, our expert Paul Gardner has been talking just a little while ago to Giorgio Canaglia, who was one of the players involved. What Giorgio had to say?
Well, he treated it all as a joke. He said he went up in the stand to get a loose ball, and the workers had been getting on them, whistling and hooting and so on. And Giorgio just said, hey, guys, knock it off. You know, you do your job, you do ours, and some words, choice words, if I know Giorgio, were exchanged. Giorgio was pushed, and he laughed when he told me this. He fell backwards down 2 seats. By the time he got up, 3 other Cosmos players were up in the stands, and there was a bit of a fuss going on there. But he laughed. He seemed to treat it all as a joke, even though 3 of them ended up in the hospital.
You know, there's never a dull moment with the New York Yankees or the New York Cosmos. Maybe it's the tense metropolitan atmosphere. I don't know. But let's get back to this game now. Detroit against Chicago. We've talked about the 2 great scorers. What about some other men who might make the difference? For Chicago first.
Well, Vin Van Hannigan, this is a vastly experienced Dutch player. He's been playing in midfield. They've moved him back into defense, and I think if he was a key player, he's an even keyer player. There's no such word, but I'll invent it for the moment. Even keyer player in the back 4. Experience, a hard tackler, a tall, strong man, and he had a marvelous game in their last game when they beat Fort Lauderdale against the striker Gerd Miller.
Up front, there's a much smaller man who's important.
A smaller man, 31 years old. Van Hannigan, incidentally, is 35. This smaller man is Jorgen Christensen, a marvelous winger, a marvelous dribbler. He'll create all sorts of problems for the Detroit defense.
How about a couple of key men for Detroit?
Well, we start almost again with Christensen again, because the man who will mark him is Paul Hunter, a young American who did not have a very good game against him when these 2 teams met earlier. Coach Ken Furphy of Detroit is going with him again, so he's got confidence that Paul Hunter can handle him this time.
Okay, and further up?
Well, further up front, David Bradford. Now, this is in midfield. This is a small man, but on the other hand, Ken Furphy, the coach, says this man can make the ball talk. In other words, he can control the ball, he can control the game. He can hit long balls, he can hit short passes. This is the man they look forward to create the game in midfield for them.
Okay, well, we'll be back at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan in a minute with the complete starting lineups for today's game. Here, even before the opening kickoff. Right now, why don't we check the starting lineups for this game between the Chicago Sting and the Detroit Express. First, the visitors, the Sting of Chicago. In the goal, a young American, number 20, Paul Coffey. And on the defense, number 2 is Clive Griffiths. Number 4, the remarkable 24, Vin Van Hannigan. And number 5, Horst Blankenberg from Germany. Then we have Bruce Wilson, a Canadian, number 3. In the midfield area, number 22, another Dutchman, Dick Advocat. In the middle, the great scorer, number 12, Karl-Heinz Granitza. And on the left, a young American, a rookie, Charlie Ficus, number 14. Up front, number 25, Peter Ressel, also from the Netherlands. Thomas Sjoberg from Sweden, number 16. And number 10, Jorgen Christensen from Denmark. There are the cheerleaders here in Detroit, as the crowd, as we said, very enthusiastic even before game time. But here are the members of the Express, the goalkeeper, Jim Brown. Number 2, Paul Hunter from Staples High School in Westport, Connecticut. Number 4, Eddie Colhoun. He's a tough one. Number 15, Mick Coop, who joined the Express not too long ago. Number 6, Steve Sargent, another of the members of the defense. In the midfield, number 14, Roger Osborne. He can play in the midfield and he can score. Here's the Mighty Atom, they call him. Number 10, Dave Bradford. Number 5, Sam Oates will be on the left in midfield. On the right on the attack, number 19, an American, Danny Vaughan. In the middle, the great star, number 20, Trevor Francis. And rounding out the team, number 8, Keith Furphy, son of the coach of the Detroit Express, Ken Furphy. These, then, the starting lineups. We're coming to you live. As you see, the teams are deploying. We'll be back for the opening kickoff. Again, live at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, outside Detroit. Let's check in quickly before the kickoff with our man on the sidelines, Vern Lundquist.
Thank you, Jim. Once again, I'll be down here on the sidelines chatting with the coaches and players throughout the game. In particular, this afternoon, Coach Willie Roy of the Chicago Sting. We will not be talking with Detroit coach Ken Burpee. That is not because he doesn't want to talk, but because he is posted upstairs. Unique among professional soccer coaches, Burpee chooses to stay in a private booth at the press level. He's connected by headset to one of his players, Brian Tinian, and from that spot, he conveys his impressions and instructions down to the floor, and they are then yelled to the players as they pass by. So, a unique position, Ken Burpee, up in the private box as the game goes on. Jim?
Okay, Vern, thank you very much. A brief look into the private world of Ken Burpee. He's actually in a glass-enclosed booth up there, very unusual. Almost ready for the kickoff. The Detroit Express in orange will be going left to right. There is the referee, David Sosha. We had him in our last game, the Cosmos game there in New York against New England. The Express in orange will be going left to right, and the Chicago Sting in the black tops, yellow pants, will be going right to left. Of course, we'll reverse in the second half. If you're new to the game of soccer, remember, 11 men on a side, continuous action, 45-minute halves, and no timeouts, except whatever the referee might call for injuries. As for the penalties and fouls, we'll give them to you as we go along. It's a simple game, believe me. Okay, the Sting now, with at least temporary possession of the ball. Bruce Wilson, number 3, trying to get it to Griffiths, number 2, but he didn't. And that'll be a free kick for the Sting. The fouls in this game are usually for playing the man rather than the ball, you might say. Anyone can go for the ball if that's what you're doing. That's called a tackle in this game. There is the young American Charlie Ficus for Chicago. He's a midfielder. Moving it back out to midfield again to Dick Advocat. And there is Sjöberg, the Swede, who joined them not long ago. He plays in the middle most of the time. He's a striker. Also likes to pick up loose balls. Anything that's loose and knock it in. Well, it's the usual feeling out process, it looks like, but here comes Keith Burpee. And out of bounds or into touch. That means it'll be a throw-in for Chicago. I'm saying, Paul, the usual feeling out process, it looks like.
Yeah, I think both of these teams seem to be teams who feel they need an early goal, so I don't think we should see too much caution here. Obviously, Detroit, as the home team, you would expect to do a bit more of the attacking.
Notice they gave the throw-in to Detroit, not to Chicago. It looked like Keith Burpee was the man who put it out of bounds, but apparently not so. And there is Ficus kicking it out, the blonde-haired American. Now Detroit, still on the attack. Steve Sargent, he's a defender, number 6, but way down there, overlapping in the soccer phrase. And again, we'll have a throw-in. You must keep your feet still, and you must throw it with both hands from overhead. There's a good long one, making it almost like a corner kick. Burpee attempting a shot, and another shot is a goal! Keith Burpee, son of Coach Ken Burpee, with a quick, dramatic goal. That's what they figured they needed against the Chicago Sting, and they've got it. This could lead to a lot of scoring today. That's his 11th goal of the season. He leads the team. He's got 11 goals and 4 assists, and that gives him the scoring lead also ahead of Ted Mcdougal, who's not playing today.
You see, this sort of results in a loose ball, which now there's a half clearance there, and there is Burpee, pushes the ball to the right of that defender. There he goes on the right, which goes in on the near post. That was only just inside the post. The goalkeeper turning around, looking absolutely horrified at what he's done there. Certainly a shot that shouldn't have gone in. There he goes, out onto his right foot, inside that near post there. And of course the Chicago goalkeeper, Paul Coffey, a little bit annoyed at letting that in on the near post. That's the post he should have covered.
Looked like he must have been screened there. Looked like he didn't see the ball at all until it was in the net.
Now that may well be true, Jim.
There's the man who scored the goal, Keith Burpee. Detroit 1 and Chicago nothing in the early minutes.
Of course, they've been booing Keith Burpee here for various reasons that I'm not fully conversant with what that's all about, but I think he's silenced a few boos with that goal. It was a beautifully taken goal.
Well, for a 20-year-old young man in the game, he's been playing extremely well, not only this year, but last year also. And the pressure of being the coach's son is obviously pretty tough to deal with. But he's done it. Okay, Detroit now with the momentum in the game, no question of that, and on the attack in the orange uniforms, going from left to right. Little Bradford, 5'5". You'll see him everywhere during the game. There's Trevor Francis, the magician, and then Osborne, number 14. Again, a move towards the goal, but frustrated this time by Bruce Wilson, who did a nice job there. There were 2 Express, one on either side of Wilson there.
I think it was an example there of what Francis can do, because as he ran for that ball, Clive Griffiths sticking to him like a leech, he brought 2 defenders with him, and he left another player open to receive a pass.
The official statistics on the goal, unassisted, no assist given, unassisted by Keith Burpee at 1:45 of the game.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of that goal, because it was a loose ball that he picked up, and he did it all himself.
Okay, an interception by Sam Oates. Now here's Chicago, kicking it away. Whoops, little Advocat. Got a little action from the back. You're not allowed to tackle a man from the rear, so there'll be a free kick. But
Chicago
now
taking the free kick quickly, but making a mess of it and giving it right back to Detroit.
Okay, a throw in for Detroit. Again into the middle towards Burpee, towards Francis, but taken away by Paul Coffey, the young American goalkeeper. Now, he played last Wednesday night against Fort Lauderdale in a winning effort. They won down at Fort Lauderdale by 3-2, and Coffey looked very good. It seemed he had won back the starting job he had earlier in the year, but had lost to Tony Chersky. Well, he's going to have to vindicate himself again the rest of the way today.
I think that was an example there of the sort of thing he's hesitating, because I thought we had a break there. We didn't. The sort of thing which Willie Roy feels he does so well, going up for the high balls, and you see his commanding arm sort of grasping that ball like two steel clamps there.
Okay, again, the battle for control of the midfield, always vital in a soccer game. 24 was Van Hannigan, but again, the ball intercepted by little David Bradford. And here comes to Trevor Francis. Francis on a solo run. Centers it towards Burpee, but not quite in the right place. Sam Oates with a shot high and wide and way up into the stands. That'll be a goal kick. In other words, Chicago will put it into play. 1-0 Detroit.
This bottle of Coca-Cola.
The action is live from the Silverdome, just outside Detroit, Michigan, and the Detroit Express lead the Chicago Sting 1-0 in a North American Soccer League game. There are still 39 minutes remaining in the first half. A dramatic start with Keith Burpee scoring for Detroit. Now here comes Trevor Francis, Europe's star soccer player of the year.
Again, Trevor Francis breaking loose. Clive Griffiths is the man who's going to mark him, and he followed him. Trevor Francis got away from him. Van Hannigan had to come across to clamp him down, and Van Hannigan was given away a corner kick, which Francis is going to take himself.
Trevor Francis, 25 years old, in the very prime of his career, has become a real idol out here in the Midwest. There is the center, and Sam Oates with a header, but there's going to be a free kick for Chicago.
Sam Oates scored. He got up well on that ball, but he helped himself up on the shoulders of a Chicago defender, and you're not allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, you're not even allowed to do it with your own players. You're not allowed to sort of make a ladder with your own player.
Sort of illegal use of the hand.
Well, it's unsportsmanlike, I think.
All right. Well, and now we're going to have a few strong words from referee David Socha to Clive Griffiths.
Clive Griffiths in very hard on Trevor Francis from behind. Good call from the referee.
Well, Francis gets a lot of this. Very physical action. And then there's the young American Vaughn, but knocked over the end line. It'll be a corner kick for Detroit. Unless there's a foul call. No, it's going to be a corner kick.
There was a sort of a, how can I put it, a slight scuffle after that ball went away between Vaughn and Van Hannigan. They got really entangled there and got quite strong with each other trying to get out of it.
We said Trevor Francis gets a lot of very physical action against him. His legs are pretty swell when the game's over. And now we're going to have a free kick for Chicago.
A hectic pace to begin the game here. Detroit saying they wanted that first goal, getting it on a marvelous bit of opportunism from Keith Burpee there, and still keeping up the pressure here. Chicago reeling a little at this stage.
Okay, this is a goal kick because the ball was put over the end line by the attacking team. The defense puts it into action. And they control it. Avocat now getting it back to the goalie again.
Hefty chorus of boos for that, but really there's not much else he could do. He was being pressured by players. He was facing the goal. He couldn't turn, so he put it back to the goalkeeper.
Okay, down to number 10, Jorgen Christensen, the little forward. He's up in the midfield area right now. To Van Hannigan. Remember, he's a defender, but notice he's been playing a lot in midfield so far. You'll notice also that Chicago likes to move the ball along the ground rather than in the air. That was Granitza looking to the referee for help, but there was none. And again, Chicago trying to set up the attack. They've got Sjoberg in the middle, the bearded Swede. And here is Granitza. Watch that left foot. Well, he tried one, but blocked.
That was a beautiful bit of action there by Granitza. He played that so well, and he got off a wonderful shot.
Van Hannigan now on the attack. Van Hannigan is every place. Interception for Detroit by David Bradford again. Now young Vaughn, the American, all by himself. Looks like he might have done a little pushing off there. A little physical action between him and Advocat. And there, a pass for Francis and the shot. No good.
Again, so quick, Francis seeing that pass coming, running into the space before the pass was even made. His final shot wasn't what he would have wanted it to be, but an example of how quick, how dangerous he is in the penalty area.
Again, if you're new to the game and you wonder why they don't use what we would call in basketball a fast break, it's because of the offside rule. You must keep at least two members of the defending team between you and the goal line at the time the ball is passed to you, not at the time you receive it.
Well, we've got, at one end of the field, we've got the struggle between Griffiths and Francis. At the other end, we've got a struggle between Colquhoun and Granitza. Colquhoun then called for fouling Granitza, the only way he could stop him.
And this is a direct free kick. That means that the ball may be shot directly into the goal without touching another player. An indirect free kick, it must touch at least one other player. It can be either a teammate or a member of the other side. This was a direct kick. Now Granitza with the ball, moving it to Van Hannigan. Now the young man Ficus. Now Van Hannigan again. Well, you picked him out as one of the key players before the game, Paul, and it's evident already why. He's a defenseman, he's a midfielder, and he can also shoot.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a defender, but he's certainly spending most of his time in midfield at the moment. Look at that pass.
Headed away by goalie Jim Brown. Now Detroit in the orange, left to right, leads in the game by 1-0. We have 35 minutes left in the first half. The fastest goal, by the way, in the history of the Detroit Express. It's only their second year, but still. Vaughn getting the ball into the middle, knocked away, and into touch or out of bounds. So the throw in for Detroit. That was Hunter moving in, Paul Hunter. Headed by young Vaughn. Big opportunity for him today. Sam Oates heads it to the side, over to Steve Sargent. Sargent, a defender, on the overlap again. He has been a couple of times into the middle and saved by Coffey.
Yeah, and a good-looking save. Well taken by Coffey, although you have to feel that was a little dangerous because there was a player up in front of him. And with Coffey moving out and that player moving in, the slightest contact would have taken that ball away from Coffey's hands.
Now, Granitza, he has the powerful left foot, over to Ficus, the young American, the rookie. Coach Willie Roy says he thinks he may well be the Rookie of the Year in the North American Soccer League. Now, Schoberg getting it in. A shot. Was it offside?
I don't think so. I think the referee is running back to the middle. That was a right-footed shot that time, too.
By Karl-Heinz Granitza. Karl-Heinz Granitza, the star scorer of Chicago, evening it up at 1-1. No cheers, of course, from the crowd here in Detroit for that one. Here's another look.
I'll see this ball. This is Schoberg with the ball, having a little difficulty controlling it, pushing it, threading the needle between two players onto Granitza's right foot. A volley, beautifully taken, dipping into the net there. Another marvelous goal. We've had two wonderful goals so far.
Another look as he fooled goalie Jim Brown. About 80% of his shots are with his left foot.
Yeah, you can see that.
That was with the right.
That was with the right foot, but it was taken so powerfully that by the time Brown started diving, the ball was past him.
You couldn't call his right foot weak, could you? But his left foot, they say, is about, what, 90 miles an hour.
His left foot is better than that, which it is, then you know what sort of a player he is.
It's 1-1 with 33 minutes remaining in the first half. A direct free kick. He can go for the goal. That's Bradford, but he decides to center it. Headed away, but not permanently. A shot by Francis. Boy, it's dangerous from any angle.
Exactly, with his back to goal, that sudden turn, twisting his leg round. He's got a corner kick out of it.
Corner kick for Detroit, and this is always a key offensive play. You can score directly from this if you can curl it into the goal, and believe it or not, it is done on more than a seldom occasion. Look out. Sam Oates again booting it over the goal. It's 1-1, Chicago and Detroit, and a long way to go. It looks like we may have a high-scoring afternoon at the Silverdome outside Detroit. Chicago won, Detroit won, and there are still 32 minutes left in the first half. A whistle by referee David Sosha. It's going to be a free kick. Here's little Bradford, 5'5".
Yeah, well, Peter Russell, who's considerably taller and considerably older than Bradford, trying to barge his way past, push Bradford out of the way, but the referee caught him.
Okay. Vaughn trying to center it, loses the ball to Granitza. Downfield, and all by himself comes Russell on the left side. He's got Schoberg coming towards the middle, but it is headed away, and Schoberg was on his way to get that one.
Certainly was. That was Sargent, I think, heading over the line there for a corner kick. A mistake by Colhoun in midfield let Russell away. Colhoun went for the ball. He didn't come up with it. Russell got away, put across that center, and Sargent, in desperation, having to head over his own goal line. Not into the goal, of course, but over the goal line to give a corner kick to the Chicago Sting.
Jorgen Christensen will take the corner kick. He's from Denmark. Not too big, 5'8", a veteran, and extremely good. He sets up a lot of the goals. Has 11 assists and only 1 goal so far this year. Good moves. In towards Schoberg and headed away by Bradford.
And again, another corner kick for Chicago. Bradford, who you wouldn't think is good in the air, as I say, he's only 5'5" or 6 there, but he had to do something about that. He felt he was being pushed from behind, but it's a corner kick, another corner kick for Chicago.
Okay, here it is with Granitza and the left foot high this time. The score, for Chicago by Granitza came at 11-11, and here's another look at it with assists by Ficus and Schoberg. There you see Karl-Heinz taking the lead in the American Conference with 15 goals. He's third in scoring in the league. There it was. So, 1-1, 1-1 with 30 minutes left in the first half. Detroit in orange, going left to right. Chicago in black with the yellow pants, going right to left. They'll reverse in the second half. Okay, here is Van Hannigan, who again, remember, has been going literally from goal line to goal line. Ficus, the American, only 21 years old. Van Hannigan again. Okay, here's Christensen. Christensen up in the midfield. Now, normally he would be on the left side up front. He'll probably move back there as soon as they get things set up, if they do. Avocat to wrestle to... Well, very indeterminate.
Sloppy, very sloppy ball from Christensen there, and of all people to give it to, Trevor Francis.
But they've got it back again. Again, the struggle for midfield. Fairly even in the midfield so far, would you say?
Very even in the midfield. I mean, we've had 2 goals which have resulted really chances which were there for an absolute fraction of a second, and both of them beautifully taken. One by Keith Furphy to Detroit, the other by Granitza for Chicago.
All right, here come the Sting again, and as you see, once again, they're a ground ball team, you might call them. They'll not be in the air too much. Van Hannigan again. Into Ficus. Ficus, the young kid, could have a chance. He shoots.
Well, some nice looking work by Ficus there.
Yeah.
Sort of threading his way through 3 defenders. His final shot was weak.
21 years old from Indiana University. And again, the Sting gets control. Christensen. He's going to play more on the right than on the left. And out comes goalie Jim Brown to haul it in.
Christensen does seem to have moved over to the right. Hunter's really not... this is Ficus's work. Look at these fakes here. And there's that final shot. Not too strong and straight at goalie Jim Brown, but a very good effort in getting the ball in a position where he could take a shot, getting it free of defenders.
Okay, going for Vaughn, the young American now, is Detroit. And again, here comes Burpee. Almost had a shot, but down he went. Could be a penalty kick. Nope. The referee says play on.
Waving play on.
Yep.
Now, in fact, Keith Burpee running full speed and 2 defenders in the way certainly tripped over the defenders. The question is, did they deliberately trip him, or did he not make the effort he could have done to avoid them? The offense has to be deliberate.
For those of you still learning the game, I said it might be a penalty kick because any of the serious fouls in the game, if they occur inside that large penalty area, 18 yards by 44, call for a penalty kick. 1-on-1 against the goalie from the penalty spot. Okay, but now we're with Chicago again. They're all tie, 1-1 with Detroit. And here they come. Look out for wrestle. The goalie coming out. Jim Brown, perfectly timing.
Beautiful stuff there. A classic example of what in soccer you call a wall pass, what is actually a give and go between Wrestle and Christensen there. Wrestle had the ball, gave it to Christensen, got it straight back, and goalkeeper Brown had to come off his line, just beat him to the ball.
Jim Brown, that goalie, is a Scot, 26 years old. And having a good game despite that goal so far, I should say. He's had a couple of good saves.
Yeah, I don't think he'll feel too unhappy about that goal. It was a first-class shot, and it beat him fair and square. Coffey, on the other hand, in the Chicago goal, probably does feel unhappy about the goal he gave up, because, as I say, it went between him and the near post, and that's not considered too good in soccer.
Davy Bradford didn't like that call. They called it out of bounds on him, a throw-in for Chicago. He didn't like it, and David Sosha, the referee, who does a very good job of controlling a game, we've noticed before, just told him off for a moment. No yellow card, though. No official caution. Well, Chicago has had control of the ball most of the time, I would say, since they scored their equalizing goal.
Yeah, they got back into the game with that equalizing goal rather suddenly, rather abruptly. They've been doing very well since then.
Okay, there's Bruce Wilson, the young Canadian, playing in his 142nd consecutive game.
This is a league record, is it?
Yeah, it is. Keith Burpee again. He scored the goal, remember. Vaughn coming across, but moved far downfield and out of danger.
I think Bruce Wilson, incidentally, if we can... That's not Bruce Wilson, that's Blankenberg getting up with a little reluctance. We can get a close look at Bruce Wilson soon. You can see this is the Iron Man of soccer, but this is anything but your strong, hefty-looking athlete. This is quite a slim, sort of slender-looking man, but he just looks as though he's made of wire, made of steel.
All right, that's Trevor Francis centering the ball towards Vaughn. Tried for a header, didn't get it, hauled in by Coffey. Keith Burpee was very close to that one. had Coffey made the slightest mistake. Down on the field we have Blankenberg. The referee can call time for an injury, but he doesn't always do it. Right now it looks like play is going to continue. It's only for more serious injuries that play is stopped.
There was a clash of heads there. Blankenberg maybe a little bit stunned. He's got up, and in the meantime, Van Hannigan, his teammate, is strolling about with the ball, deliberately slowing the game down, almost stopping it until Blankenberg can get back into the play. He's all right now. Here's Wilson.
There's a look at Wilson, the slender Iron Man. Over to Griffiths, Clive Griffiths. All right, now Chicago trying to control the midfield and a little more organized on it this time, it would appear. Van Hannigan now looking for space, looking for a free man. Leads wrestle down into the corner. Well, he couldn't catch up with it. That is going to be a goal kick. In other words, Detroit will put it into play. The offense put it over the line. It's a 1-1 game. Back again at the Silverdome. It's 1-1, Detroit and Chicago in a North American Soccer League game. An important one for both teams. Chicago second in their division and Detroit third in the same division. Both fighting for playoff berths. The playoffs starting in August, and we'll have 4 consecutive weeks of that. The climax being Soccer Bowl 79, the championship game. See 75,000 people at that one at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. But here comes Chicago, tied at 1-1. Here's Granitza, the powerful, deadly scorer. Getting it to Sjöberg, who came from Sweden just a few weeks ago. But Bradford knocks it away for the Detroit Express, and here they come. Into the middle to Trevor Francis. Out on the right to Roger Osborne. He's a midfielder, can score. He's going to try to set it up this time, but it's knocked right off the shoulder of Charlie Flekas of Indiana University. Getting a starting opportunity today. The corner kick for Detroit. Look out for Francis. And in the middle there's Vaughn, but Coffey just grabbing it away from him.
I think there'll be a free kick there on charging the goalkeeper. Referee's very quick to notice when a goalkeeper can't protect himself. He's got to be watching the ball, and he's got his hands out. Mick Coop in very quickly, thumped him hard, made him lose the ball. The referee called the foul immediately.
Okay, but Detroit getting control of the ball again, then losing it, and a quick kick off the side of the foot to Granitza. Look out, this is real danger here. Nope. Into the middle of Sjöberg. But it didn't work. There's Sargent with the ball for Detroit. That was a real opportunity.
Well, some beautiful approach work there by Chicago. And the final thing, Sjöberg doing what looked like the right thing, pushing the ball back for Wrestle. Wrestle was running, and he overran it. He was there before the ball got there.
A free kick for Detroit, again with roughing up Trevor Francis that caused the whistle. Socha keeping a very sharp look on what they're doing to Francis and to the other players, but he knows, as everybody else does, that Francis is the most likely guy to get strict attention.
Exactly, I think it'll be...
Burpee was calling for a foul. Here's Francis with the ball. Moving it across to Vaughn. Vaughn with a shot that ricochets off a Chicago player, and it'll be a corner kick for Detroit. Once again, the last man to touch it, actually that touched him, was a defender. Therefore, the offensive team gets a corner kick. There's Danny Vaughn, number 19. An American from the University of Washington.
I think there were 2 very dangerous things there as far as Chicago was concerned. They allowed, of all people, Trevor Francis to pick up a loose ball, to work his way around the area, and he gave it to Burpee, who got off his shot, which hit a defender and could have spun over Coffey's head into the goal. Luckily, it went only for a corner kick, which they've now survived.
Here comes Chicago again. Sting trying to sting. There's Wrestle going for the ball. Up and can't control it. It'll be a goal kick with Detroit putting it in play. It's 1-1 at the Silverdome. The action is live and the score is even. Chicago 1 and Detroit 1 at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. This is Jim McKay with Paul Gardner. Down on the sidelines is Vern Lundquist. Right now he's with the Chicago coach, Willie Roy. Vern?
Right, Jim. Willie, it looked like there might be moments of despair for Chicago with the early goal, but you've certainly come back strong.
Well, I think there was a little confusion, but he was lucky to get that goal anyway because it went between 4 players. And but I knew it was going to be a tough game. I knew it wasn't going to be easy for us to play over here. But we're starting to settle things down, and I think as the game goes on, we'll be okay.
Would you expect now 1-1 at this point that we might see a lot of goals?
Well, the chances certainly are there. They had a couple of chances, and we just made a back pass that Thomas Sjöberg just flipped off of Peter Wressel's foot, you know, and these things are going to happen in an emotional game like it is today.
Okay, Willie, let's go back upstairs.
Okay, the corner kick by Wrestle for Chicago. And he couldn't hit anybody that time, so Mick Coop, number 15, has it for Detroit. Again, the score is 1-1. We have 19 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first half. I'd like to alert the stations. We'll be taking a station break very quickly here, very soon. Here comes Roger Osborne, getting it down towards Keith Burpee once again. Grabbed off by Coffey. Coffey stung in the first 2 minutes of the game. Has been making no mistakes since then.
Well, Coffey had to come off his line very quickly there. One of these fast breaks, a long ball. And Trevor Francis, with his tremendous acceleration, he got a step at least on Clive Griffiths, who's the policeman who's been assigned to keep him under control. And if Coffey hadn't come off his line, I think Francis would have got to that ball.
Coffey is from San Jose State University. There must be 2 North Americans on the field at all times for each team, but more and more, it doesn't seem to be as much a must as the fact that there are normally 2 Americans at least on the field. Next year there have to be 3. Detroit with the throw-in. David Bradford being harried. Last night, the Dallas Tornado beat the Rochester Lancers 1-0. A tight game. Rochester missing a penalty kick in the final minutes. Could have tied it up. There's Burpee. He scored the only goal for Detroit so far. Getting across to Sam Oates. He's had a couple of shots that went high. He centers it this time toward Francis, but it's knocked away. Now Osborne. Centering it again. Sam Oates heading it toward Francis, and very well. But Coffey comes out and gets it.
Yeah, that was a lovely little header because he didn't put much power into it. It was sort of a controlled, calculated header, just to lob it in there where somebody else could play it nearer the goal.
Dick Advocat, one of the Dutchmen on the Chicago team, loses it on that pass. But kicked away beautifully.
Bruce Wilson, flat on his back. There he is.
Yeah.
Played that ball away beautifully, and he set a lovely attack going here, too.
Chicago on the move, but again, whew. Good thing that was the goalie on this artificial turf. He could have had some brush burns on that baby.
Well, he's pretty well covered, isn't he? Just his hands and face showing.
That is one reason why goalies are fully covered when they play on this surface. There's Vaughn, number 19, with the ball. Trevor Francis, number 20. Over to Oates. Certainly young Vaughn is doing his part in diverting attention from Francis, isn't he? He's very much
doing a good job out there, and he is winning the head balls, too.
Keith Burpee.
A little optimistic, a volley on the turn, not well struck, not hit as he'd wanted to be hit. An easy thing for Coffey to take that ball and clear it out.
16 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first half. Detroit 1, Chicago 1. And Chicago moving it down. There's Van Hannigan again, number 24. Over to Bruce Wilson, back to Van Hannigan again. Yeah, Van Hannigan once more. And lost to the Express. Vaughn, number 19, to Burpee. That was Griffiths, and then Roger Osborne centers it for Vaughn, but no. Still in play. Back to Vaughn again. He kicks it to Burpee. Look out. And here comes a little Bradford. Another shot. Boy, a real scuffle in the penalty area there.
Absolute chaos in the penalty area there.
Okay, we'll be back with more NASL soccer after this word from our local stations.
Sunday.
The live action continues here outside Detroit. Detroit 1 and Chicago 1. We're in the first half. Chicago with the black shirts going right to left. Detroit in the orange going left to right. There's Keith Burpee. Taking it back over his head. It's up to the bicycle kick. Osborne, Roger Osborne, number 14 to Burpee again, who scored the only goal for Detroit. And it's knocked off Bruce Wilson.
And a brilliant bit of play by Trevor Francis in midfield, running one way, flicking the ball behind him as he took the defender to his left and leaving Roger Osborne absolutely clear to run through.
Francis with the ball again. A high lob towards goal, headed away by Wilson. So that'll be a corner kick for the Detroit Express.
Francis, we have to keep talking about Francis. He got that ball, he hooked it across the goal, looked as though it was going out, but he got his foot round it, he got enough spin on it to curl it back in, and in the end, Wilson has to head it over for a corner.
So the Express are on the attack again. There's Trevor Francis. He's got a little room, but again, it's headed away by Wilson.
Francis and Wilson having their own personal little battle here. Terrible mistake in the Chicago defense. Two defenders going up for the ball, both of them missing it, lurking behind them. Again, Trevor Francis, of all people, leaving him alone to deal with the ball inside the 6-yard area. Incredible.
That Wilson is something, though. He set a league record of 10,000 consecutive minutes played. Look at, there's the ball centered in by Burpee. And it's going to be a goal kick for Chicago. The defense will put the ball in play. We'll be right back. 12.5 minutes left in the first half. Detroit won and Chicago won. Detroit in the orange. But now Chicago, Karl-Heinz Granitza, their star scorer, number 12, had the ball. He passes across to little Christensen. Christensen by himself. He doesn't score too much. He's usually setting up the goals. Don't know what he had in mind there.
Well, I think he was trying to leave the ball. He expected Wrestle, who was behind him, to cut in. He killed the ball dead and kept running, took his defender with him, left the ball alone, but Wrestle was not quick enough to see the movement, perhaps didn't run in.
Sam Oates, number 5, he plays every position on the team. He's even the reserve goalie. Plays forward, midfield, defense, and occasional goalie. Trevor Francis going for the ball, but Van Hannigan playing it very closely.
Hannigan giving a pretty hefty shove to Trevor Francis to get him off that ball there. But the referee, a lot of boos from the crowd, but the referee calls nothing.
Remember at halftime, another soccer tip, inside soccer with the greatest name in the sport, Pelé. Up close and personal look at Trevor Francis. A little look at Trevor at home with his wife. And, of course, highlights of the first half. So we think it's going to be an interesting halftime. Sam Oates getting it across, headed for Burpee, but no, headed away by...
Well, quick shot on the turn by Q Burpee, but again, those are really difficult shots to take. He got hold of the ball, but he didn't get all of it, and Coffey was in good position to deal with that.
Van Hannigan putting it in play. He's had the ball so much today. On the defense here, in midfield, and occasionally on the attack. Veteran Dutchman, 6'2", 185, strong player. All right, and here we come again with Christensen, the man who sets them up, getting it across to Sjöberg, the Swede. But little Osborne kicks it away. Now Granitza again. Burpee, but then headed back Chicago's way. Avocat now. Moving it across to Christensen. Christensen to Wrestle. Wrestle, another of the 3 Dutchmen in the starting lineup here for the Chicago Sting. He lost his shoe.
Lost his shoe, but I think he got a corner kick out of it, so he'll not be too unhappy about that.
Calhoun wasn't too happy, the bearded member of the Detroit Express defense. I don't know what he was crabbing about, but he was crabbing.
Well, presumably he thought it shouldn't have been a corner kick, that it should have been a goal kick to Detroit. I don't know why he would think that. It seemed pretty clear to me that it came off him.
To me, too. There's Christensen assisting his teammate to tie his... She says, you go that way. I'll take the corner kick.
You go
tie your shoe.
Tie your shoe, exactly.
Right. I like it. Okay. Ball centered by Christensen.
Well, that is not one of the better corner kicks you'll ever see. And it ended up in the center circle, and it ended up with the wrong team.
Well, for want of a shoe, the corner kick was lost. Trevor Francis. Ooh, that was a clever little move he had in mind.
Another typical Francis move. So sudden, so quick. Darting little pass.
Paul Hunter. To Francis again. Francis by himself. And the shot. Oh, Coffey was screened again. He didn't see that for a moment.
It came through somebody's legs. Another example of these moves that Francis can put on. A fake to his right. He didn't even play the ball. Just faked his body to his right. Turn left. 2 defenders left, wondering what on earth is going on. Now watch this move here. Away he goes. 2 defenders left nowhere. A right-footed shot through those players. A last-minute dive by Coffey to smother that ball.
Back to the live action. That's Peter Wrestle, number 25 for Chicago. It's a tie game, 1-1. We have 8 minutes, 55 seconds left in the first half. Granitza now getting it in towards Sjöberg, but no. Advocat looked like he wanted a shot, but he couldn't get it. Osborne battling for the ball with Christensen, and now Advocat gets it back to Christensen, the Dane, who played in Berlin as a teammate of Granitza. Now Wrestle. Very enthusiastic crowd on hand here today. We'll have an official attendance later on. This is a huge arena, you know. It holds over 80,000 people. Chicago on the move again. Granitza with the left foot cut, changed his mind, lost the ball. Here comes Bruce Wilson.
Well, that time,
He doesn't stop, does he?
He doesn't stop. He tackled Osborne from behind as a clear foul. The referee called it immediately, keeping a firm grip on the game, as you said earlier, Jim, that we expected him to do.
Okay, look at that. Express 15 shots to Sting 4, but it's 1-1. Express, of course, the home team, and here's young Danny Vaughn, the American from Indiana University, knocked over the sideline by Van Hannigan. It'll be a throw-in for Detroit. The ball must be thrown both hands from back over your head, remember. Coffee coming out again to grab the shot by Osborne. It's 1-1 at the Silverdome. Seven minutes left in the first half. Detroit 1, Chicago 1. Here comes the great Trevor Francis. But his extended pass hits the heel of Clive Griffith.
Wherever we see Francis, we see Griffith. That time, Griffith just got his leg up as that ball was coming over and blocked it.
All right, here's Paul Hunter from Westport, Connecticut. Staples High School and the University of Connecticut. Osborne with a shot. Coffey fumbles it. You saw how Burpee was ready to pounce on that ball had it come loose.
It was a dipping shot. That was Bradford, I think, with the shot. A dipping shot that, as you see, it bounced right at his feet. Now, that's almost like, like a tennis player having a ball. There you go. It's his left foot shot here. Paul Hunter inside, and this is Bradford who runs onto the ball there. A right-footed shot goes up, and then down it comes, bouncing right in front of him. In fact, right on his knee there. Difficult ball to handle.
And now we have Detroit on the attack again. 1-1. Now 6 minutes left in the first half. Detroit in the orange, Chicago in the black with the yellow pants. Little Bradford, who just had the shot, with the ball now. Like many of these players, he is from the English League, but Hunter is an American who just moved the ball down to Osborne, who centers it. The header by Francis went the other way. And here is Peter Russell, number 25, with the ball for Chicago.
It's a good sign of the attacking sort of tendency of Detroit. They're getting a lot of people up in that penalty area. When that ball comes over, as it did then from Osborne, there were 4, maybe 5 Detroit Express players in the area waiting for it.
Van Hannigan once again moving the ball down. Granitza with another shot over the top.
Granitza called offside on that. The linesman on the far side raised his flag as soon as Van Hannigan made the pass. Offside.
We'll be back in a minute. We're back again at the Silverdome. 4:45 left in the first half. It's still 1-1. Chicago and Detroit. The Express in the black jerseys now losing possession of the ball to the orange-shirted Express. And that's going to be a free kick for the Chicago Sting, as indicated by referee David Silver.
That's what's known as an unpopular decision, as indicated by the chorus of boos from the Detroit fans.
Granitza standing by the ball, but he won't put it in play. Blankenberg, number 5, but now it's going to be Coffey, who will roll it out to Blankenberg, the German defenseman for Chicago.
I think we've seen very few of these long goalkeeper punts, which I don't find too entertaining. We're seeing a lot of constructive play, the ball being worked downfield as it is now.
Here is the ball kicked by Granitza, but intended as a pass, and the goalie.
Collision between Brown
they
and
hit
Colhoun.
heads.
I think we heard that pretty solidly. I think it was, whether it was heads or the ball that got in between them.
Boy, they sure went down.
Take a look at this pass from Granitza. Now this leads, you'll see, to this collision, because as Colhoun, I think he prefers to pronounce it, runs back there. The goalkeeper comes out. Well, it's the ball and the heads and everything there, and Wrestle running in to collect that pass. The funny thing about this pass is that here, as it bounces, it sits up. You see how that ball sits up there? That's what caused the problem. Normally on this artificial turf, the ball spurts forward.
Well, there's Eddie Colhoun, a defenseman and assistant coach, actually, and there's the goalie. Both stunned. We'll be back. Eddie Colhoun is 34 years old. He's a big man, 6 feet tall, 170 pounds, and he's tough. But he is still lying on the playing field after a collision with his own goalie, Jim Brown, both going for the ball. We'll have another look. There's Granitza for Chicago with the left-footed pass toward goal.
Pushes a long ball through, and as I say, it sits up there, which means that Brown was hanging back, expecting that ball to come through quickly to him. When it didn't, he had to lunge forward to get it, and he lunged forward. He did get it, but he also crashed. Well, there's Brown wiping his eyes. He smashed heads with Colhoun. That's bad enough, but when it's one of your own players, that's even worse.
2 Scottish heads smashed together here on the playing surface in Michigan, and looks like they're going to be all right. This is the injury time that we talked about. The clock is not running now, and this is a rare occasion in soccer. Remember, it's a continuous action game. Neither team can call timeout. Only referee Socha there can, with 3:46 left, and the clock has been stopped. The only official time is kept by the referee on the field, but that'll be pretty close. They try to stay in synchronization with it.
Brown is still wiping his head on the towel. Colquhoun, incidentally, is still on the ground, and he's been down rather a long time, which makes one a little bit anxious.
Now, they won't give him all day to get back in the game. On the other hand, they'll give him enough time, because if he is substituted for, he's out of the game. You cannot go out of the game and then re-enter when you feel better.
Doesn't look too happy, does he, Jim?
No. Only 3 substitutes are allowed for each side. There's Coach Willie Roy of the Chicago Sting, waiting to see what move Detroit is going to make in the case of Eddie Colquhoun.
See, what can happen is that they can sort of carry him off and then play with 10 men. That's Ken Burpee sitting up in the stands there. He can't be too happy about this situation. He's in contact with the bench through those earphones. Colquhoun on his feet now.
And remember that Burpee does all his coaching from that glass booth up above the stadium. That's where he is. Get a little relation shot down to the playing surface. It would seem to be a rather impersonal way to try to control the game. To me, behind the glass, not down on the playing field. What do you think?
Well, I guess it's a matter of what you feel, how you feel you can accomplish the most. Burpee spent certainly all his coaching career. There's Eddie Colquhoun. I think he's still very shaken by it. I think he does not look very happy. Now, we've only got 3.5 minutes left in the first half. One possible move would be to have him on the sideline, play with 10 men for those 3 minutes. I don't know what that 3 means. That may mean there's only 3 minutes to go. I can make it.
Well, it's supposed to be 3:46, according to the unofficial time.
He's clearly not looking very happy.
But you mean just stay on the playing field but not participate in the game?
Either that or have him on the sidelines, play with 10 men, in which case you've not used up your substitute. And if he can recover at halftime, you can start with your original 11 at the beginning of the second half.
However, being the tough man he is, it looks like he's going to stay in the game. And that'll be a direct kick for Detroit. Bradford putting it in play. It's 1-1, Chicago and Detroit. Colquhoun has got smelling salts in his hand out there on the playing field, trying to get himself back in shape.
He's in a lot of trouble. I think the plan is to have him survive these 3 minutes and then try and have him recuperate at half-time when he's got 12 minutes.
All right, getting it across to Charlie Ficus from Indiana University. Rookie looking very good today. The midfield for Chicago, but losing the ball this time. Avocat fighting for it again, gets it for the Sting. Back to Avocat from Van Hannigan. Now to Granitza.
Obviously in Chicago's interest to try and play on Colquhoun now, because although it doesn't sound like a nice or a sporting thing to do, you go for the juggler and you know where the weakness is, and clearly Colquhoun is in some trouble at the moment. And
Colquhoun at the moment is marking Sjöberg, who is a scoring threat, the bearded blonde Swedish player. There it comes over to Avocat again.
Colquhoun headed away, but he nearly fell flat on his back after he headed it.
Well, maybe that'll clear his head.
It may well do.
All right, here comes Detroit. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left in the first half. Chicago getting it back again. Detroit, in essence, really playing with 10 men. Not really, though, because Colquhoun managed to head that last one away.
And he's doing his usual share of the Scottish-type shouting and waving down there, so he's keeping everybody else in order.
All right. Here comes Ficus again for Chicago. Being harried by Osborne. Osborne obviously pushing him down.
We have a good example of a referee calling what we call the advantage rule in soccer. Osborne had 2 goes at Ficus there. He held his shirt. He's getting a yellow card for 2 offenses. He held Ficus' shirt. Ficus got away from him. The referee did not call that because Ficus still had the ball. The referee can let play go. But then Ficus, having, or rather Osborne, having failed to hold him by the shirt, tackled him from behind and brought him down. Foul was called and a yellow card, an official warning to Osborne. All right, that means 1 more yellow card and he's out of the game, and if you're thrown out of the game, you cannot be replaced by a substitute. There's the wall being formed for this free kick by Chicago. And that takes a little courage to stand there while a man who can kick this ball with his left foot 90 miles an hour belts it at you if he chooses. The goalkeeper in the background there trying to tell that wall to get over slightly. He's the guy who tells that wall where to stand. And they must be, you'll say they must be 10 yards away from it, the ball when it is kicked. But the wall did its job this time. Chicago, however, still with possession and a whistle. It's going to be a free kick for Detroit. Offside offense called against the Chicago Sting. Remember, again, offside means there were not 2 members of the defending team between you and the goal line at the time the ball was passed to you. Not when you receive it, when it is passed, played to you. 1 minute, 25 seconds left in the first half. It's 1-1. Should be quite a second half. There's Eddie Colquhoun, stunned when he collided with teammate Jim Brown. Here comes Trevor Francis. Francis on the move into the corner.
tries to center it, but Bruce Wilson's there as he's been most of the first half. He's played a great game. We're going to be seeing Trevor Francis up close and personal at halftime, remember, along with the tips from Pele and first half highlights, of which there were several. There's Wilson, the Canadian. Ball centered, but not very effectively. Coffee almost losing it.
Having an adventurous time. And another of those balls which bounced right at his feet. It spun away from him. He was very quick. He pounced on it like a little kitten after a plaything. Grabbed it into his chest and held onto it firmly.
Now Chicago. They fell behind in the first minute and 45 seconds when Keith Burpee scored. They evened it shortly after the 11-minute mark when Karl-Heinz Granitza scored one with his right foot. He usually scores with his left. And that crossed up goalie Jim Brown. Okay, here come the Express again. And here comes Chicago. Charlie Ficus. He's got Granitza on the left. Can't get it to him, though. Tried to move it over to Wrestle on the right. 12 seconds, 11, 10. Does not look like there'll be another goal in this half. As the ball is put into play, Paul Hunter, number 2, with it for Detroit. And unofficially, that's it. There's the whistle. That's the end of the first half. The score, the Detroit Sting won. The Detroit Express won. It's been a fine, exciting half of soccer, and we'll be right back. Granitza of Chicago. It'll be Detroit in the orange shirts going right to left this time. There's referee David Sosha, the only official in control of the game. There are linesmen, but they are there only to advise him. He is the man in charge of 22 skillful and sometimes deceptive players. So as we say, Detroit in orange going right to left. Chicago in the black shirts with the yellow pants will be going left to right. It's Detroit kicking off. As we mentioned before, the kickoff in soccer is not the dramatic move it is in American football. It's simply a matter of putting in play. Trevor Francis kicking it across now to Keith Burpee. Burpee, who scored the only goal for Detroit, and he did it quickly in the first half. Luigi Martini has come into the lineup, replacing Charlie Ficus, number 14.
Oh, I think Charlie Ficus was playing with a groin injury in the first half, and there was some doubt that he would last the whole game. Martini, in fact, I gather, is not 100% fit, so they sort of split duties between two 80% fit players here.
Martini's been out of action for several games, as a matter of fact. He's an Italian player from Lazio, the team that Giorgio Canaglia came from. But now, here is Detroit. There's Colhoun, who was injured in the first half, number 4, looking pretty lively, but the ball is intercepted by the Sting. Jorgen Christensen getting it towards the middle, but it is headed away nicely by Detroit. No one in control so far in the early moments of the second half. Coach Ken Furphy on his way back to his little glass booth out high is stopped by our booth. Coach, what is the purpose of that? Why do you coach from up here?
Well, I can get a better view from there. You can see the angles and you can see who's marking up and who's not marking up and any problems we've got. Whereas down the bench you only see the feet. It's very difficult to coach from the line, and it's unusual.
Can we expect to see anything different from your team in this half?
Well, I've just asked the midfield to tighten up a little bit. We give them a little bit too much room. We're letting them play too much, and that's caused our back four a few problems. And hopefully we're going to settle that this half.
Okay, back to your headset and the glass box. Coach Ken Burpee, thank you very much. The early going of the second half, it's 1-1. No one in charge so far. Detroit in the orange, Chicago in the black and yellow. And here's little Bradford, who played a good game at midfield in the first half, trying to lead Ken Furphy, but there was no way. So, since the offensive team kicked it over the goal line, it will be put into play by the defensive team. That's called a goal kick. Had the defensive team put it over the end line, it would be a corner kick for Detroit. Chicago, though, with the ball going left to right. Bruce Wilson, number 3, certainly was outstanding on defense in the first half. Goalie Paul Coffey. He was beaten early, but not since then. And a whistle. Who's he calling that one on?
He's calling it on Sjoberg. The funny thing was, I don't think either player knew which way that call was going. As soon as the whistle went, they both turned around, Colhoun and Sjoberg, with that sort of innocent, how could you do that to me sort of look. And of course, it was Colhoun who was the innocent party then.
Danny Vaughan going for the ball along with Bruce Wilson. But it's a whistle. I think they said that Wilson was up his back a bit.
Wilson, I mean, another example just how strong this man is, because Danny Vaughan is a big boy, and he got up in the air, and Wilson clattering into him, and it was Vaughan who went down.
And yet Wilson's 5'10", he only weighs 155 pounds. All right, Osborne now, number 14. Getting it to Trevor Francis. Trevor Francis has been marked so closely by Griffiths so far. Hasn't really had an honest shot at the goal. He's scored 5 goals in 6 games since he's been back here this year. after a long and difficult season in Europe. Okay, going for Peter Russell, but no. And here comes Sjoberg. Ooh, he almost had an opportunity.
A cool little bit of play there by Mick Coombs. He saw Sjoberg coming, left it to the last second, made it look exciting.
Okay, headed by Advocate. Van Hannigan, number 24. Getting it to Granitza, but not getting it to Granitza. Intercepted by Osborne. Now a little Bradford.
Bradford with some of his midfield trickery.
But Detroit on the move. Osborne, number 14. He's got Burpee in the middle. He's got Francis in there also. Towards Francis, headed away. Bradford now with a little bicycle kick. And Francis with the ball.
Francis has managed to kick Blankenberg in the face while he was. That's high kicking. You're not allowed to kick that high in soccer, especially if there's an opponent near you. There's Blankenberg rubbing his nose, trying to get some of the imprints of Trevor Francis's famous feet out of his face.
Kick in the nose is definitely not de rigueur.
De rigueur?
Yes, that's means something. I'm not sure. Here comes Granitza now, moving it across to the side to Martini, who's just entered the game as a substitute. Remember, 3 substitutes are allowed for each team. No more than that. When a player goes out, he cannot come back. It's continuous action. There will be no timeouts unless they be for injuries. What do we get? Whoop, wait a minute. Here comes Danny Vaughan.
Well, there's a linesman flagging like mad over there. Bruce Wilson went for the ball. Danny Vaughan got away with it, but the referee is saying that Danny Vaughan pushed Bruce Wilson as they went for the ball.
How about a quick injury report from the sidelines from Vern Lundquist?
Jim, we checked with the Detroit team physician on that collision toward the end of the first half with Jim Brown, the goalkeeper, and Eddie Colhoun. Both were knocked silly, and the physician said right at the end of the half that Jim Brown still wasn't right. Obviously, during the halftime determination, they said that both could go, but we'll just see if the headaches continue, and they may have to come out.
I don't know what that medical phrase, he still wasn't right, means, but a bit dizzy, I suppose. Thanks very much, Vern. Good injury report. Well, let's see. It's 1-1. Chicago in the black, in the person right now of number 10, Christensen, Jorgen Christensen, intercepted by Detroit. Here comes Sam Oates, number 5. Oates, who can play anywhere, remember, even the goal. Right, today he's playing in the midfield. Kicked away, I believe, by Sjoberg. That should be a throw-in for Detroit.
Sjoberg seems to be playing a bit deeper this half. Instead of being the advanced striker, we've got Russell as the only man pushed up for Chicago at the moment.
Okay, that was Sargent, number 6, centering the ball. And here is Van Hannigan again, stealing it away for Chicago. Coming to Christensen, Jorgen Christensen now. Getting it way downfield, intended for Russell, but several times Russell has been led too much, hasn't had a chance to catch up. It's 1-1, Chicago against Detroit. We're back at the Silver Dome. This is live North American Soccer League action. Chicago won and Detroit won. We're in the second half with just over 38 minutes remaining in the game. Should it be a tie, you know, someone will win. There's always a decision in the North American Soccer League. It will be overtime, and if that sudden death fails to produce a winner, then a procedure called the shootout. More about that when it looks like there might be a chance of it happening. It's 1-1 now, though, and Detroit in the orange, moving right to left, is on the attack. Steve Sargent, number 6, whose throw-in led to the first and only goal for Detroit at the 1:45 mark of the first half. Osborne battling with Sjoberg. Sjoberg stealing the ball. Flat taking it from him, but now what? Both of them in the corner. Look at that. That's a funny little
cat and mouse games there.
Trevor Francis had it for a moment, but only for a moment. Griffith, number 2, still marking him extremely closely. Griffith came out that time, leaving someone else with Trevor Francis. Francis, though, couldn't get a shot. Blankenberg was just behind him. Bradford with a shot! It's a goal! Little David Bradford, who is all over the field. He's a midfielder, but you'll see him any place. At 5'5", has just scored. Probably the goalkeeper couldn't even see him from the taller defenders.
I think the minute that ball came back across the middle and you saw Bradford running in, that situation had goal written all over it because the Chicago defense was standing still. You see the ball comes over from the left wing. Now another mistake here. Look, 2 players behind there, and this allows this ball to come back. A perfect volley from Bradford from the edge of the area, and again Coffey probably unsighted. There's the cross going across. Now you'll see Wilson is the last defender. Up he goes, but he's got two Detroit players behind him, and I think that's Vaughan who beats him in the air. Bradford running in, beautifully taken volley, past the outstretched hands of Paul Coffey.
Okay, let's come back again live because it's Chicago on the move for Nietzsche. And to Schoberg. Schoberg high with his shot. And kicked that one right up into the screen. It's Detroit 2, Chicago 1. Should be quite a ball game. Stay with us. David Bradford, all 5 feet 5 inches of him, has given the Detroit Express a 2-1 lead over the Chicago Sting with 35 and a half minutes remaining in their North American Soccer League game. It's Detroit on the attack again in the orange uniform. Intended for Sam Oates. Into the middle. Trevor Francis there, but he can't get it. Goalie Paul Coffey hauling it down. The official statistics on the last goal, it came at the 52-minute, 45-second mark of playing time in the game. Bradford, his second goal of the year, assisted by Oates and Osborne. Now Chicago tried to even it. They evened it fairly quickly in the first half after Detroit had scored. Look at the shots, though. Express 3-1 on shots over the Sting.
Matter of fact, they had a chance to equal it just before we went away for that last break there. Schoberg had a clear shot there, and he whacked it way over the bar, but that was a clear opportunity.
Blankenberg, number 5, to Van Hannigan. Van Hannigan now is playing midfield. He's moved up from his defense position. I mean, officially, he was in midfield most of the first half anyway. Now here is Martini, who is on the defense, who's just come into the game in this half. And they lose it. Keith Burpee getting it towards Trevor Francis, but it's Martini playing his role as a defender. Okay. Blankenberg moving it across field to Bruce Wilson. He of the 142 consecutive game streak he's keeping alive today. Again, Detroit, can they maintain that momentum? Chicago at the moment looking a little flat, a little down. Here comes Osborne. He got an assist on that last goal. To Trevor Francis, way on the right side. Headed away by Blankenberg.
Terrific battle there between Francis and Griffith. Francis outpacing Griffith. Griffith just catching up with him. And as the ball came across, Francis still managing to get his foot on the ball and get it across. Blankenberg heading clear.
Clive Griffiths is the man marking Francis. All right, there's Francis again. Still in the battle with Griffiths, number 2.
And again, Francis again managing to get his foot on the ball and get it across. Griffith blocking it at the last moment, putting it over the goal line. That will be another corner kick to Detroit.
Griffiths is a 24-year-old Welshman. He's the only man to have played with the Sting in all 4 of their seasons in the league. Number 2 there. There you see the statistics on Francis. There's the center, George Vaughan, just past the goal.
Well, a couple of errors there. That's Danny Vaughan wondering what he has to do to put the ball in net.
He had his first goal last year against no less a personage than Gordon Banks. Here's the last goal.
It was Roger Osborne's cross. Well, apparently that must be Oates who goes up in the air and heads it back there, because Vaughan was behind him. And there's this perfect volley from Bradford, absolutely beautifully taken. I can't fault Coffey on that one at all.
Here again comes Detroit, very much with the momentum here in the second half, with just under 33 minutes remaining in the game. It's 2-1 Detroit. Osborne now, number 14, centering the ball again for nobody. Actually, it didn't center, it went up and over the end line. It'll be a goal kick. It's 2-1, the Express. We're back again at the Silverdome. The action is live. It's Detroit 2, Chicago Sting 1. Really a must game for Detroit. Trying to reach the play after Trevor Francis, and the follow. And it was Keith Burpee, I believe. Burpee finally, pouncing on that ball on the second rebound and scoring his second goal of the day. Detroit 3, Chicago 1. They're on the move.
Another complete scramble in the area there. Keith Burpee delighted with that. He was the last person to get a touch of it. The original shot came from Osborne, taken from about 25 yards out, and that ball was cleared off the line twice. This is Osborne. Here comes his right-footed shot. Coffey can't hold it. It bounces out. Francis is in there. Now, I don't know who that was who took that second shot that was blocked on the line. Keith Burpee got the replay and pushed it in. Wilson again on the line. Here's Osborne's shot. Coming straight out hard. Coffey can't hold the ball. Out it goes. One rebound off the line there by, I think, Martini. The second one, there's no way he's going to get the second one. Osborne's shot coming in again. Coffey lets it bounce out. Francis is in there. There's the shot. I still can't see who that player is. I think it might be Osborne following up his own shot.
Okay, back to live action. It's a shot and a goal by Schoberg. Thomas Schoberg of Sweden scoring suddenly for Chicago. It's a 3-2 ball game. It's not over, not by a long shot. 30 minutes, 40 seconds left in the game. Thomas Schoberg just joined the Express a couple of weeks ago. There's a disconsolate Jim Brown.
Well, again, I mentioned, I think at halftime, we were getting a lot of defensive errors, and they're leading to a lot of excitement. There's Granitza's through ball, the defender falling down. Schoberg controlling the ball beautifully. Late cover from the defense there, and a beautiful shot just past Brown, just inside the post.
Okay, let's go back to the live action because it was Detroit on the move again. A whistle. There's Trevor Francis. He has not scored yet today, but, well, they're watching him. They can't watch everybody else quite as closely. Although, basically, he's got one man on him in the person of Clive Griffiths, who's done an excellent job. Detroit leading 3-2. And there is the center for Detroit. A shot on goal, but not a very effective one.
Paul Hunter trying to repeat Bradford's effort.
That was by Paul Hunter.
Now this is Granitza getting the ball, and he's going to push that ball through square to Schoberg. See a defender ball falling down, defender coming across late. That's a beautifully placed shot, just where Brown couldn't get to it, and just inside the post, angled perfectly.
Schoberg again with the ball. In last year's World Cup competition, he scored 5 of the 8 goals that Sweden had while they were moving through the rounds. Had their only goal in the final rounds down in Argentina. There's a look at Colhoun, who was injured in the first half. Knocked heads with Jim Brown, his own goalkeeper. Looking okay now, though, and he's marking Schoberg. Chicago. There's the Wilson. We had a whistle and offside, so it will be Detroit putting in the ball in play. Well, I'll tell you, Chicago does not quit. They don't give up at all. Each time they've been stung, they come back.
Exactly. They come back very quickly, too. Now they've got to come back again. There's still a goal there.
You don't sting the sting with impunity, it appears. But Detroit is still the aggressor. Bradford, who scored a goal, losing the ball now to Wrestle. Wrestle keeping it in play. A sliding tackle on the artificial turf by Steve Sargent, and that burns a little.
It certainly does. Bradford living very dangerously there, running back towards his own goal, refusing to pass the ball back. Whoops, here's Granitza again.
Yep. Corner kick, he kicked it into the back of a defender there.
Well, that was Mick Coop, and he did the right thing. He turned his back. He didn't want to head that one away. He just turned his back on it.
Okay, here's Martini now. Luigi Martini getting the ball to Dick Advocate. In the midfield, Chicago trying to set up, getting it to Granitza on the right side. Granitza, a couple of good moves there. Centering it towards Schoberg again. The header by Schoberg. He tried to head it to Wrestle, it looked like.
Yeah, Wrestle running in. Mick Coop read it perfectly, though, and was there. He didn't head it away just wildly. He headed it to a defender, and they've started an attacking move going for Detroit.
It's the most exciting soccer game we've had so far this year. We had a 3-2 game in our first one. The Cosmos losing to Tampa Bay, and a couple of 1-0 games. But here's another look at the last goal.
That's Schoberg's shot. Look at the way that shot's angled. Just past Brown, maybe a little bit late to dive on that.
That was the one that brought Chicago back to within 1 goal. It's Detroit 3, Chicago 2. And now there are 27 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. That's the Chicago head coach, Willie Roy. Willie, an American. He was born in Germany, but played many times for the American national team. In fact, more times than any other man. Okay, the Express in orange, Chicago in black. Schoberg going for the ball. Nobody's got it. Nobody had battle in midfield. Battle for control. Advocate all over the place for Chicago, number 22.
We must have had 4 or 5 consecutive examples there where the ball was up for grabs, and each time a Detroit player got it.
Intercepted by Sam Oates. He gets it down to Keith Burpee. Burpee headed towards the goal. Kicks for, well, nobody. I think he had Danny Vaughan in mind, but much too high and too hard. Detroit 3, Chicago 2. All right, here is the Chicago Sting on the attack. That's Christensen, number 10, trying to set something up. He assists on many goals, but not this time. Granitza losing the ball to Osborne, number 14 of Detroit. Osborne getting it through to Danny Vaughan, the young American. He's got Burpee in the middle. Here comes the center. Burpee trying for it, doesn't get it. And look out, there's the little man, Davy Bradford, getting another shot. Here comes Burpee in, up, still in play, and saved by Coffey. What an exciting game this is.
Absolutely hectic action down there. And again, a series of, if you like, half mistakes. The referee seems to be calling something here. Or he's telling, I think, photographers to get out of the way. And I think we're going to have a corner kick here.
Yep. There'll be a corner kick for the Detroit Express. That means that the defense put the ball over the end line, over the goal line. Francis was claiming a handball there, but that was not given. Here is the center. And there's Danny Vaughn with a shot. Wide.
Dangerous situation for Chicago. So many players in the area that the goalkeeper, Coffey, really can't see what's going on. Let's have a look at some of this chaos we were talking about. This is Bradford, who starts the whole thing on the left of the area. He goes across, Coffey knocks it out. That ball is hit in, that's Blankenberg heading it down almost off his nose. A collision there, up in the air goes the ball. Coffey runs across, grabs the ball, keeps it in bounds, but the referee said it went out, and it was last played by a defender, so it resulted in a corner kick.
Okay, and now back to the live action once again. Detroit leading by 3-2. We have 24 minutes and 30 seconds left in regular time. And that'll be a direct free kick for Chicago. Direct free kick meaning you can kick directly for goal. He's pretty far out. He's about 40 yards out, so we wouldn't expect it, but you never know. He lofts it towards the penalty area, headed away by Oates. And Advocat getting it back for Chicago, losing it to Little Bradford. Danny Vaughn for Detroit. Ball Hunter, number 2, on the long pass. And we'll have a throw-in, it looks like, for Detroit. The throw-in goes to the team that was not the last to touch it. And must be taken with the feet still, supposedly. You'll see them waltz a little bit down the sidelines occasionally. And given with both hands after the hands are brought back over the head. You cannot throw it in with one hand. Sometimes you'll see some fancy work with that, too. At least favoring one hand, huh?
The referees like to look for spin on the ball. If they see spin, I think it's one hand.
Danny Vaughn had ideas again, but Coffey grabbed it off. Shot still, Express 23 and the Sting 8, but the Sting has scored twice. They trail by only 1 goal, 3-2. Okay, here come the Sting, left to right. Van Hannigan playing in midfield this half. He was a defender in the first half. He was trying to lead Wrestle. Wrestle didn't have any luck with Wrestle, and that's because he's marked extremely well by Osborne most of the time, looks like. Here's Trevor Francis trying for the ball, not getting it. Chicago has it, or do they? Yes, they do right now. Oh, and that was Granitza going down. There is the mastermind for Detroit, Ken Burpee, the head coach, who does his coaching in a glass-enclosed booth high above the playing field. Here come his men. Detroit leading by 1, 3-2. There's Sargent, number 6. He's got Burpee in the middle. The shot by Francis. The rebound by Burpee. It's another goal for Keith. It's a hat trick for Keith Burpee. 3 goals. And all that cheering is for the young man, age 20, whom normally they boo here in Detroit for reasons not clear to anybody.
Well,
but nothing will silence the boos like a hat trick.
He's certainly been on the spot. Now, this again, a tremendous assist on this goal to Trevor Francis, because he let fly with an absolute rocket from the edge of the area here. Now, this is not Francis. The ball comes across here. It's pushed inside. This, I think, is Sargent. The ball, here's Francis running on whack. First time right-footed shot. Coffey again cannot hold the ball, and the first man to get to the rebound, Keith Burpee. Into the net goes the ball. The defenders must be upset about that, because they really should be first to those rebounds. They shouldn't let an opposing forward get in quickly like that.
Well, normally you'd think the ball game was about over, but not the way this one is going. It's a 2-goal difference, 4-2 Express over Chicago, but there are 21 and a half minutes left. The goal, of course, by Burpee. Officially, the assist given to Sargent and Francis at the 67 minutes, 38-second mark. That is his second hat trick of the year. He had one earlier against Fort Lauderdale. A hat trick, of course, being 3 goals in 1 game, just as in ice hockey. Okay, here is Steve Sargent, number 6 for Detroit. Now Martini for Chicago. And they'll try to quiet things down a little bit, reorganize themselves. There's a look at the man of the day, Keith Burpee, 20 years old. He has some future in soccer in this country ahead of him. He's English, as is his father, of course, who coached over there before coming here. Here's Martini, moving quickly, getting it to Schoberg. Schoberg to Christensen. Christensen to Granitza, but again, he was marked by Little Bradford. And there's a whistle. I think the ball will go to
Van Hannigan, tripping Sargent. He's got a yellow card. Well, it was a pretty flagrant trip, I think. Sargent breaking quickly out of defense. Hannigan running right across his path.
The referee is not giving himself reminder notes. He writes down the name of the player after giving the yellow card. So officially he knows who it is.
Ball going one way, and it comes the other way. Now this is Sargent running out. There he goes. Well, you can't see a clearer trip than that, and I think that was certainly worth a yellow card from the referee.
And again, a yellow card is an official caution. If you get 2 in a game, you're out of the game. There's also a point system that works against you. That's much too complicated to explain while a soccer game of continuous action is underway. Another whistle. Referee Socha keeping control of the ball game.
Clyde Griffiths again leaning on Trevor Francis as that high ball came across.
You had your hand around his neck with us at born yesterday.
Did he say something? He said, you're hanging around his neck. Look out! Were you born yesterday? Or do you think I was born yesterday, I guess he said. All right.
Well, whenever a referee makes a call, players usually like to disagree with it. I guess Griffiths did disagree with it, and the referee told him to be quiet.
Trevor Francis, number 20, marked closely by Griffiths as he has been all day. Griffiths right with him. Look at that. All the way. But the center was for Danny Vaughan. He almost had it. Martini kicks it away. Here comes Granitza. He hasn't had a shot the whole second half, I don't believe. He gets it over to Advocat. Will it come back to him? Schobert's in the middle also. Advocat looking for his man, but he didn't see a man coming behind him who was Sargent.
Well, Advocat dwelling on the ball much too long there. Don't expect to hang on to the ball for that length of time. They had a break. They had men open. Advocat simply hung on to the ball too long, got it taken away from behind by Sargent. There he is.
Yep, and he jumped up in the air almost like a man who scored a goal, but of course he's a defender.
He may well have saved a goal there.
Okay, Detroit on the move. Again, that's Coop, number 15, the defender. Moving it down towards Francis. He lets it go by to Osborne. Then it comes back to Trevor, up and high. It's 4-2. With 18 minutes and 10 seconds left, the Detroit Express leads the Chicago Sting 4-2. It's a North American Soccer League game. This is Jim McKay with Paul Gardner and Vern Lundquist. As Detroit in the orange are on the move yet again. That's Bradford. He scored a goal earlier. Gets it towards the middle, but taken away by Griffiths for Chicago. Griffiths, who has been marking the great Trevor Francis all day, and very effectively. Francis does not have a goal, but teammate Keith Burpee, age 20, has 3 of them. And Bradford has 1. Going to have a station break coming up here rather quickly. We would alert our local stations. There's Dressel. He hasn't had much chance today to do anything. Being marked by Colhoun very closely. But there, he may get a chance. There's Dressel with the ball, but no. And he loses his shoe again.
He's got to do something about his shoelace contract, I think.
Yeah. Official attendance, 12,486 today at the Silver Dome in Detroit. Performance today by Detroit might draw a larger crowd next time they're back. Playing very well, and they lost their last game at home on Wednesday night to Tulsa. But they're looking extremely good today. Detroit Express, Trevor Francis, way back in midfield this time. Wilson keeping the ball in play for Chicago, and that'll be a free kick for Chicago. There's Trevor Francis, number 20. And we're going to have substitutes coming into the game. Van Hannigan has had a thigh strain. I think he's going to come out. But it's 4-2 to Detroit. We'll be back with more NASL soccer after this word from our... 16 minutes, 20 seconds left of regular time. Detroit 4 and Chicago 2 at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Substitutions for Chicago. Now 3 are allowed in the game for each team. Gene Strenister, number 8, has come in place of Van Hannigan, who has had a muscle strain that's been bothering him, but he's played extremely well today. Steve Long, number 17, is coming into the game, replacing Dick Advocate, number 22, both for Chicago. And Chicago now has the ball in the black jersey. They're trailing by 2, 4-2. Martini, number 9. He has played just the second half. They've used all of their substitutes now. If anybody is hurt or thrown out of the game...
hurt, they'll have to play a man short, yeah.
Just trying to get fresh blood in the game. Here's Granitza. Granitza, who scored their first goal today. Being marked by Mick Coop. Throw in by Granitza. Quickly getting it in. There's Schoberg in the middle with the ball. He's got a man on the side. Look out. That's little Christensen. Back to Schoberg. The shot. It's a goal! 4-3! And suddenly it's a ball game all over again. Thomas Schoberg getting his second consecutive goal. He looks like the prow of a Viking ship with that beard and the long blonde hair.
Very Nordic look about him. And again, you know, not a particularly strong shot, but you'll see him working his ball with Christensen. Christensen does not shoot, pulls the ball back inside, looks as though he's going to shoot again, does not, gives it to Schoberg. Schoberg's shot seems to be hit somebody. Brown going the wrong way, and again, poor Jim Brady's having such an unfortunate afternoon in goal because the ball is there. It does hit somebody, only just inside the post. There's the shot. And it's Brown, in fact, who gets a foot to it, but can't deflect it wide of the net. It still goes in. 4-3.
That was the 12th assist of the year for Christensen. That's his specialty. He's only had one goal, and there he certainly had a shot if he wanted to take it, but he set up Schoberg perfectly instead.
I think you're right. I think he had a shot twice there if he wanted to take it, but he, pulling defenders towards him, left space for Schoberg to get off that shot, which he did perfectly.
14 minutes, 25 seconds left for Chicago to even it up. They trail by 1, 4-3. There's Burpee, scored 3 goals, number 8 for Detroit. At the 74-minute, 39-second mark, this man, Tommy Schoberg from Sweden, scored his 5th goal of the year with an assist from Christensen. Detroit leading 4-3. Well, that would be the equivalent in an American football game of something like 28-21. Getting to be a high-scoring affair here. Detroit now trying to get something moving, but no, Wilson lets it go over the end line, meaning that it will be a goal kick for Chicago. We'll be right back. Okay, it's Chicago on the move again, and Long tries to center it. He comes back to him, still Long, the slip through with the ball. Granitza with the left foot. Off McDougal, and boy, it hit him hard. Granitza again, it's wide of the goal.
Thunderous shot from Granitza there. I'm not sure where that hit Coop. I think it hit him on the chest. I hope that wasn't a header for his sake.
Well, Coop was bent over at the waist, but we have another Express down on the field. Can't quite make out who that is, can you?
I get my trusty glasses on him.
Oh, it's Osborne, yes, number 14, Roger Osborne.
Trainer on the field.
So there's an injury timeout. It's a 4-3 game. Detroit leads. We're back live at the Silverdome. It's Detroit 4-3 over Chicago, and here is number 9, Ted McDougal, who has just come into the game, replacing the injured Roger Osborne, who was down when we left you to take that break there. Ted McDougal, now Chicago with the ball, and here comes Peter Russell, number 25, kicked away by Mick Coop, who's played a fine game, and a whistle, and a call going against Chicago. So a free kick, putting the ball in play, is the Detroit Express. Last 2 goals for Chicago have been by Thomas Schoberg. A Swede, pretty good day for Sweden with Bjorn Borg winning his 4th Wimbledon, and now Mr. Schoberg having a good day. Let's see if they call that a goal kick or a corner kick.
I think it's Detroit's ball. Whether it's a throw-in or a corner, I'm not sure.
A corner kick would mean that the defense had put it over the goal line, and that's what it's going to be. Keith Burpee, who's had 3 goals today, try to set up somebody else this time with the corner kick. And the 20-year-old blonde centers it nicely, but it's headed away by Griffiths. And now here comes Chicago. They're not out of it. No. 11 and a half minutes. Still left to go. Wrestle, number 25, gets it over to Schoberg. He's had the last 2 goals. Here comes Thomas again. He takes a shot. And it's deflected off the goalie. Look out. That was Christensen getting it high over the goal.
Well, another of those instances where the goalkeeper could not hold the ball. A tremendous shot from Schoberg. Christensen running in, couldn't hit that ball low. He's got to get it up in the air to get it over the goalkeeper. He got it up in the air, but he got it up too high. It went over the goal. This is the run. Schoberg coming through, and you'll see him unleash this tremendous shot. Brown parries it. Out it goes. Hits it down, in fact. Dives for it. Christensen coming in, gets the ball up and over him, but he put it over the bar.
All right. Now here we go again with 10 minutes, 53 seconds left in regular time. Detroit leading 4-3. They have the ball in the orange. Now knocked away by the black and yellow-clad Chicagoans. And they call that against Martini.
I think that was a good call by Socha, because Martini jumped for the ball, but he wasn't even looking at the ball. He was really playing the man rather than the ball.
And from the back. Here's Bradford. He had a goal today at 5'5". He claims 5'6". Most people think it's 5'5". Coop centering the ball for Detroit. Headed away by Blankenberg. Headed away again by Blankenberg. Schoberg with a header. Cross field to Griffiths, the man who's been guarding Trevor Francis so well. Marking. Okay, Mcdougal, who just came into the game, number 9 for Detroit. He is one of their leading scorers. In fact, he was the leading scorer on the team until today when Keith Burpee took the scoring lead from him. Now, he hasn't had as many goals as Burpee and didn't when the day began, but on the basis of points, which is goals and assists, he was the leading scorer on the team.
Mcdougal had a long history as a prolific goal scorer in England. I mean, this man to come off the bench as a substitute is something of a joke, because this is a very good player indeed.
Well, it was the problem of having two Americans on the field at the beginning of the game, the complications of that kept Mcdougal out. Osborne sprained his left ankle, we're told. That's why he went out of the game, to be replaced by Mcdougal. 9.5 minutes left now. The Express 4, the Sting 3. Throw in by Chicago. Blankenberg to wrestle. And out of bounds. So it'll be a throw in this time, since it was last touched by Chicago. Throw in by Detroit. And it's Paul Hunter.
They're wasting a good deal of time out there.
He was the first player ever signed by the Express when they were formed last year. Played briefly for the New York Cosmos and came originally from University of Connecticut. There's a brother who plays in the league. But here comes Chicago this time. Christensen getting it down. Back to Christensen again. Got somebody in the corner. Wrestle. And they're causing an offside call. Yep. Wrestle did not have two defenders between him. Here's the last goal.
This is Christensen's little bit of trickery. No shot there. Pulls it inside. Shot. No. Pushes it back. Sherberg right foot shot. But Brown falling to his left. Tried to deflect with his feet to the right. Did deflect it, but not far enough. It went into the goal.
A little conference between a couple of the players and the referee, but now we're set to go again. We have 8 minutes, 20 seconds left in regular time. Detroit with the 4-3 lead coming down again. There's Mcdougal. Centering it back into midfield to Bradford, who moves it across to Vaughn. Here comes Vaughn, Danny Vaughn, the American from Indiana University. And that almost came back into play, almost stayed in play, but no. Throw in for Detroit. They've had many more shots from Chicago, but still only lead by 1. And here is the Sting getting the ball again. Martini, Balding, number 9.
It's encouraging to see Chicago still playing the ball out of the back, not booting it aimlessly down the field, even though they're a goal down. There's just under 8 minutes to play. They're still playing the ball methodically and coolly out of the back.
That was Strenister, number 8, the substitute, who lost it that time for them, though. Here we have Trevor Francis. Look at that move. Look at that move. Here he comes by himself. He hasn't scored yet today, but that was a close one. Let's see if they call it a corner kick. Yes, it'll be a corner kick for Detroit.
Tremendous boost from the crowd, because Trevor Francis was brought down inside the penalty area. They felt maybe there should be a penalty kick, but I think it was pretty clear that Griffiths played the ball first.
Okay, now it'll be Keith Burpee taking the corner kick. He's been taking just about all of them today, I believe, for Detroit. Headed out. Now here comes Wrestle, number 25. He's one of the forwards, remember, for Chicago against the Sjoberg, the man in the middle. He's had the last 2 goals for Chicago, across to Christensen, who sets up so much of the play in the forward area. Christensen trying to get it in the middle and couldn't, but it'll be a corner kick for the Chicago Sting. So they'll still be on the attack. Sjoberg's had 2 goals and 1 assist today. Granitsa's had a goal and an assist for Chicago. For Detroit, Keith Burpee has had the hat trick, 3 goals. Trevor Francis, no goals, but he's had 2 assists. There is the center for Chicago, headed in by Wilson, but kicked away. Trevor Francis looking for it, but Griffiths is right with him. He gets around Griffiths. Griffiths comes back and plays him closely. Mcdougal gets it to Francis again. That's still Griffiths with him, his shadow. There's the shot by Francis, and that's it! That may wrap it up. Trevor Francis, at long last, getting the goal he's been looking for all day. With 5 minutes and 55 seconds left approximately, he scores to make it the Detroit Express 5, the Chicago Sting 3. Well, boy, I'll tell you, there's only a little more than 12,000 of them, but they're sure making noise in Detroit today.
This is Francis jinking his way around Clyde Griffiths. Just sees the opening for his shot, a right footage. Now this is again perfectly placed. Coffey out on the 6-yard line, dives, can't get to it. Look, again, another shot just inside the post. Here you see him coming towards you. Griffiths backing up, doesn't know which way to go, and again, just that little opening, and in comes the ball. Coffey diving, can't quite get to the ball.
All right, here we have Granitsa with the ball for Chicago. A right-footed shot this time, dribbling along, but picked off by goalie Jim Brown. That's Francis's 6th goal since he came back from England a few weeks ago. His 6th of the year, and 6 straight games with a goal for Detroit for Trevor Francis. There it is. That's his goal for today, at least so far. 5 minutes now left in the game. A free kick for Chicago, which of course draws boos from the Detroit fans here in Pontiac, Michigan.
I think, Jim, I was saying just now how good it was to see Chicago, even though they were a goal down, continuing to work the ball out. And I'd say the same thing with Detroit, even though they were a goal up and are now 2 goals up, they're still attacking. They're not sitting on this lead.
That time, Christensen was trying to set up the defender, Wilson, who had come all the way down on the left side and almost got around his man. Now Chicago again, they're down by 2, 5-3, 4.5 minutes left in regular playing time. Christensen again leading a man, and a shot by Steve Long, the substitute, number 17. Picked off by Brown. He had a good shot, though. Brown, who collided with his teammate in the first half. Here comes Long.
The ball pushed through
Right
to
here.
him as he runs onto it here. Now, in fact, that's not the defender in trying to push the ball back to his own goalkeeper. Brown having to make quite a hectic save.
Okay, Detroit on the move again. Intercepted and put into play by Chicago. Martini, number 9. Just under 4 minutes left in the game. Wrestle number 25 to Christensen, back to Wrestle again. We've got Granitza in the middle. We've also got Schoberg in the middle. Granitza with his hand in the air, calling for the ball. Here it comes, but it's headed away by Sargent. Martini heads it across to number 3, Bruce Wilson. Wilson to Griffith. Griffith now getting it to the substitute, Strenisser. Gene Strenisser. Towards the middle, Martini down there, the defender, but he couldn't get it. Back to the goalie. Detroit 5, Chicago 3. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left. Staying on the attack. They trail by 2. Granitza almost had a chance. Couldn't get it. The header by Schoberg goes over the end line. So it should be a goal kick for Detroit. Yep. Willie Roy, head coach of Chicago. Disconsolate, I believe, is the usual adjective used for that situation. And there's Coach Ken Furphy, who prefers to sit under glass with his work on a headset.
Would he be consulate?
He's consulate, I believe, yes. That is his consulate he's sitting in. We're going to be running over a little bit. We had warned the stations around the country. Doesn't look like too much unless Chicago's going to even it up and put us into overtime. They're down by 2, 5-3, 2 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the game. Chicago still on the attack, though. Christensen. And a center to nobody that time. Detroit picks it off. Wide World of Sports coming up over most of these ABC stations as soon as the game is over. Here's Granitza. He had a goal earlier today. Most powerful left foot in the game, perhaps. Moves it over to Strenisser. Strenisser to Martini. Martini lobs it into the middle. There's a header, and the goal by Long. Well, there's still a minute and a half left. It's 5-4.
You can't ask for a better header than that. And again, the Detroit defense, this is what happens. They're 2 goals up. They went to sleep. The ball came over. Long running in at full speed. Headed that ball, absolutely perfect style.
Steve Long, a 21-year-old American from Wheaton College in Illinois, was a second-team All-American in 1978.
Out on the right, there's the cross from Martini over everybody's head. Well, that's a perfectly classic header, and Brown really can only stand and watch that one go in, so that's our 9th goal of the afternoon.
As the ball is put into play, there is 1 minute, 20 seconds left.
There's the ball coming over
lead
again.
by 1, but now here comes Chicago again, down towards Granitza. Granitza kicking high in the air, maintaining control. Closely marked by Coop. And now the ball headed away by Detroit. Can they keep possession, or does it go out? It's out, and it'll be a throw-in for the Chicago Sting. We have 1 minute precisely left in the game of regular time. Martini and Strenisser, both substitutes, been handling the ball. There's Martini getting it across to Wilson, Bruce Wilson, getting it in towards the middle, towards Granitza. The header by Granitza. There's Granitza. There's a goal. It's all tied up. Unbelievable. It's 5-5. Well, it looks like we're going to have overtime. Have you seen a game like this in a year and a half or so?
Not lately, no. I can only say that the Detroit defense, and I wish we could get a shot of Ken Furphy's face at the moment, the Detroit defense has been really very, very lax on those last 2 goals. They're playing as though the game was already over, as though they were leading by about 5 goals. This is Wilson.
Yep.
He looks, he sees what he can find, he puts the ball high into the middle. Granitza goes up for the ball. There he goes. He heads it up in the air. And now look, where is everybody when this comes down, allowing him to run in there? Brown I would hate to think that went through Brown's legs, but it certainly looked as though it did.
All right, the overtime situation is, and it looks like we're going to have it. 25 seconds left. Overtime consists of 2 periods. Sudden death. If there's no score at the end of those 2 periods, we go to a shootout, which will be explained at the appropriate time. Granitz's 16th goal of the year, his 2nd of the day. There's Burpee kicking it down towards goal. Looks like both teams will be happy to go into overtime here. They're now 3-2. Looks like regular time is running out. Could you have believed 2 minutes ago that this game would end up going into extra time? I, for one, would not have. But it's thanks to this man, Karl-Heinz Granitza, that Chicago is tied with Detroit at 5-5. We'll take a break, but we'll be back. Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. This is Jim McKay with Paul Gardner and Vern Lundquist. You may have just joined us. We're running into extra time. The Chicago Sting and the Detroit Express are tied at 5-5. A tremendous number of goals for a professional soccer game. With just a couple of minutes to go, Detroit had a 5-3 lead. Suddenly, Chicago struck and struck again. Here is a look at the last goal. It was Wilson getting it down towards Granitza. Granitza heading it, but not giving up at any point. Turning around. Still closely marked. Moving forward and kicking with that talented left foot right past the goalie.
I'm afraid it did go through Brown's legs. But again, the defender's really rather asleep. This is Bruce Wilson looking to see what he can do. And he's only got under a minute left here. Very cool. Puts it exactly where he wants it. Right onto Granitza's head. Up goes the defender too early. Granitza gets it, heads it up in the air, turns around, and he's the only one who goes for it. Now, that's not exactly an unstoppable shot, but Brown, obviously not expecting him to be allowed to take that shot, had problems with it. It went through his legs, and we're tied at 5-5.
Last goal, of course, by Karl-Heinz Granitza, one of the leading scorers in the North American Soccer League. He's had 2 goals and 1 assist today. Thomas Sjöberg, his teammate from Sweden, has had 2 goals and 1 assist also. And there's a look at him.
You'd know he's Swedish, wouldn't you, somehow?
You might guess he was Swedish. Yes. Luigi Martini, who only entered the game in the second half, a defender, has no goals, but he has 2 assists today. He's been a key man in the second half. As for the Detroit Express, Keith Burpee, son of Coach Ken Burpee, has 3 goals. That's the hat trick. Trevor Francis has 1 goal, scored late in the game, and 2 assists. It's just been back and forth, and the tone of the game was set at the 1-minute 45-second mark, just after the start of the game, when this man, Keith Burpee, scored the first goal of the afternoon. What we're going into now, after this 5-minute intermission, which is almost up, just about up, is sudden death. There will be 2 7.5-minute periods. Now, as soon as somebody scores, it's all over. But if no one does score, it'll be a 7.5-minute period, then a 1-minute rest period, and they'll turn around and exchange sides, and another 7.5 minutes. After that, if they're still tied, the shootout, a characteristic of the North American Soccer League. Most of the world, of course, doesn't even have overtime in the sport of soccer, as a result of which there are many draws. In some countries, you'll see a team with almost as many draws or ties as it has wins and losses. Not here.
In Italy, I think you'll see more ties.
Right.
In fact, it was an Italian team that finished 2nd in the league, first division this season, that didn't lose a game. If you can imagine finishing 2nd, the reason they didn't lose a game because they had something like 19 tied games.
No ties here. Here comes Detroit with the ball, moving from right to left. All tied at 5-5, and in fact, it's starting all over again. This sudden death, they must be so careful. Remember, 1 goal, and it's all over.
They must be careful, Jim, but they must also be very tired. And, of course, this, again, means errors and mistakes on the defense. We saw 2 of them in the waning minutes of that game by Detroit, which allowed Chicago to score those 2 goals.
It could be important, however, that Chicago has used all 3 of its substitutes. The men they have must go the rest of the way. Detroit still has 2 substitutes left with it.
Chicago are, on average, I would say that Chicago are an older team than most in this league. But Coach Willie Roy, who I asked about it, said, "Oh, it doesn't matter at all. I don't even know the ages of my players."
Martini, number 9, who had 2 assists in the second half, trying for another one. Back out to him again. And now he tried. Well, I don't know whether that was a shot or a pass, but it didn't work. I think he thought he had somebody in the middle, and he didn't.
Well, I think it was a pass, but the problem was that the defenders were moving out, and when they move out, of course, the attackers have to move with them, or they'll be offside. So he got nobody up there.
If you've just turned on your set to watch ABC's Wide World of Sports, stay with us. You're seeing something that may be new to you, something that ABC Sports believes has a big future in the United States. professional soccer as played in the North American Soccer League. We're in overtime. Sudden death. Chicago against Detroit at the Silverdome outside Detroit, Michigan. It's 5-5. Chicago scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes. Here comes Long. He scored one in the last 2 minutes of play, but that time it was knocked away.
Well, Long having a very good afternoon. He started that move. He stole the ball way down near the halfway line, gave it to Granitza. Granitza gave it back to him. Long ran onto it, blasted that shot, which Jim Brown couldn't do much about. He just got in the way of it and blocked it.
Steve Long, an American from Wheaton College. Now here's Granitza getting it across, and that was Danny Vaughn kicking it into touch or out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Chicago. Bruce Wilson never stops running. Plays every minute of every game, throwing it in. Christensen. And now the steal by Trevor Francis. It wasn't Francis, excuse me. It was Danny Vaughn. A foul called against Chicago. No, it was out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in by Detroit.
I think you're right.
Now it is.
Yeah, I think it is a foul.
Yep. Just on the...
I wouldn't want to explain that foul. It's a little mystifying.
Okay. Detroit in control of the ball for the moment. And here we have Bruce Wilson down, the man who plays, as I just finished saying, every minute of every game. He once played more than 10,000 minutes in a row. Well, the equivalent of almost 7 days of continuous soccer, I figured out.
This looks like cramp. I think he may feel he's played 7 days right now in this game.
Let's go down to Vern Lundquist.
We're standing here with Willie Roy. Coach, I don't know. I've seen some unbelievable finishes to regular time, but that had to be one of the great ones.
Well, of course, and I think it's nice to have it on the national audience, and I think we've always had this type of team. We don't give up. We don't quit. We lost 2 excellent players, Dick Advocat and Vin Van Hannigan, put a couple of youngsters in there, and they come and they pick up the team again, and it's the way we've been playing all along. We don't quit.
Was there a point when Jorgen Christensen and Granitza were having some communication problems in the second half?
I think these are high-tempo players. Of course, everybody expects a super pass from the next guy, but on the AstroTurf, sometimes that's hard to do, and we must realize it, and then things calm down again, and it's not a big problem.
Okay, Willie Roy, let's go back to Jim.
All right, there's Sam Oates, number 5. He was trying to get it to Burpee, but he couldn't. By the way, Coach Ken Burpee has descended from the booth and is on the sidelines on the bench. Couldn't stay away any longer, I guess. Here comes Chicago. It's 5-all, sudden death overtime. First of 2 possible 7.5-minute periods. There's Christensen, the setup man, on the attack, getting into wrestle. Stolen away, however, by Sargent. Sargent again, number 6. He has really marked wrestle well today. The orange-clad Detroit Express trying to go on the move, but it's intercepted by Griffiths. Number 2, keeping it in bounds. The ball is not out of bounds until the entire ball is over the entire line. It's the opposite of American football. Keith Burpee now gets the ball for Detroit. He scored 3 goals today so far. Down to Mcdougal, who entered the game late as a substitute, but he's a top scorer. And now the interception by Martini. Actually, the ball passed away by Mcdougal. Here comes Martini. He set up 2 goals in the second half. Down for Peter Russell. Russell being marked by Calhoun. And that's going to be a throw-in for Detroit. Ball went out of bounds. 3.5 minutes left in the sudden death overtime period, the first sudden death overtime period. Here's Bradford. He scored a goal for Detroit. Mcdougal passing the cross field to Danny Vaughn, the American, Indiana University. Now into the middle for Keaton, Trevor Francis. Francis still with the ball. Look out for him. There's the save. Bobbled but saved. And it was Mcdougal ready to pounce on that.
Francis again, so dangerous. 22 yards out, turning suddenly, hitting the ball perfectly. Coffey again showing this tendency not to hold the ball first time, and it's cost him 2 goals in this game.
And now the weary Chicago Sting, still full of vim, it appears. And here is Christensen, controlling that ball as he does so marvelously. He doesn't shoot, but he's got 12 assists and 1 goal so far this year. There's Streniser, who came in as a substitute. This is live action from the Silverdome in Detroit, North American Soccer League. I hope if this is the first time you've seen it, because you tune in for Wide World, that you'll be with us for our next game, which is 3 weeks from tomorrow, the Los Angeles Aztecs at Washington. The Aztecs have a man generally considered the greatest player in the world. But here comes Detroit again. Danny Vaughn. Trevor Francis tried to get through and couldn't. Vaughn moves it up to the right-hand side. Johan Cruyff is the player referring to before. Look out! The header by Francis, just saved! Just saved!
Coffey again making life difficult for himself. Out of the goal, a little further than he should have been, perhaps. The ball nearly over his head, but with a tremendous stretch, just pulling it in with his left hand.
All right.
Another head collision.
And Schoberg. One from each side. But the game goes on. The game goes on. Continuous action here. There's the ball going for Francis. And a daring move by the goalie that worked. Francis is down. He's bent over, got his head almost on the ground.
Tremendous collision between Coffey, the goalkeeper, and Francis there. Francis is up shaking his head. He's not going to sit this one out.
Now, referee Sosha issuing some tart instructions. There's Trevor Francis.
Yeah, well, he took a that ball came through. It was perfectly placed. As the ball came through, Coffey came out. Francis was running in. Of course, both of them again with their eye on the ball, not on each other, in the inevitable collision. Coffey got to the ball first.
If by any chance you ever thought of soccer as an effete, rather non-physical game, this game should take any thoughts of that out of your mind. There's McCoop with the ball for Detroit. 1:10 left in the first sudden death overtime period. If there's no score in the next 1:07 now, we'll have another sudden death overtime period of 7.5 minutes. Detroit controlling for the moment. McCoop there. Moved over the end line. Up a little corner kick.
Clear signs of tiredness there on the part of McCoop. That wasn't a difficult ball to play, but he ran it over the sideline.
Chicago 0-2 in overtime this season. Detroit 2-2. All right, here is Granitza. Gets George Schoberg, but they let it go, and that's going to be a goal kick for Detroit. With 31 seconds left in the first of two sudden death overtime periods. There's the score, 5-5. Wilson kicking it away for Chicago. And here's Schoberg, but I think he pushed off.
Right, yeah, he got the ball, but he assisted himself by pushing Colquhoun out of the way.
Not only can you not use your hands to touch the ball, you can't touch the other
use them on your opponents in any way. Pushing, shoving, striking, holding, anything. All out.
Again, it was the remarkable Wilson kicking it away, heading it away for Chicago, and the whistle. Let's see what that one is. That's it. That's the end of the first of two sudden death overtime periods. Another one, exactly like it, coming up. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Coming in Pontiac, Michigan, it's North American Soccer League. The Chicago Sting against the Detroit Express. With 1:37 left of regular time, Chicago trailed by 2 goals. Almost unbelievably, they got those 2 goals and tied it up. Second of two sudden death overtime periods then. Should it still be tied at the end of this, we'll have a shootout, especially in the North American Soccer League, which consists of 5 men from each side taking a one-on-one shot with the goalie. Not a penalty kick, but a moving shot. You get 5 seconds to take the shot. The goalie can also come out or stay back as he wishes. The team that gets the most successful shots of those 5 wins the game. If it's still tied, it goes to, in effect, a sudden death shootout, one at a time. Okay, now Chicago moving right to left. They have changed directions again, remember. Chicago right to left. Detroit in the orange, left to right. Martini with the ball for Chicago. The defender way up there now. Getting it in towards Wrestle, but it was again Mick Coop, I believe. Yes, Coop, who was ready to intercept.
Nice run by Martini for a defender. That was a good-looking attacking run.
Here comes little David Bradford. 5'5". He scored a goal earlier today, a midfielder. He was trying to get it in, possibly for Danny Vaughan, but couldn't.
Either for Danny Vaughan or Mcdougal, neither of them went for it. In the past, it looked very lame and weak, but it wasn't a bad idea on Bradford's part.
Okay, the midfield struggle for the ball. Somebody lost a shoe again.
I think that's Trevor Francis.
Trevor Francis this time.
Yes, he's fallen over as a result of losing it.
Look out, here comes the Sting. There is Wrestle, but it's going to be an offside call. There were not 2 defenders between him and the goal line at the time the ball was passed to him. That's what offside is.
And that's the problem with a quick breaking offense like that. Even if you're in line with those players as the ball is played, you're considered offside if you're in line. So you've got to time your run just perfectly.
They will not wait for Trevor to tie his shoe. The game goes on. There are no timeouts. An interception by Long. He scored a goal. The one that really got the final push started for the Sting. With 1:37 left. But this time, the young American from Wheaton College goes over the end line, so it'll be a goal kick. Detroit putting the ball in play. We now have 5:20 left in the second sudden death overtime period. My goodness, and this is still the regular season. We have 4 consecutive weeks of playoffs coming up in August and September. Climax with the Soccer Bowl, the championship game. And they should really be something. Detroit is struggling to make the playoffs. Chicago in pretty good shape to make them. but wanting to hold on to second place and perhaps close in on the Houston Hurricane, which unexpectedly, but quite positively, leads their division. Well, here's Christensen, the assist man from Denmark. Over to Strenister. He's got Long on the sideline. Here's Long. Wrestle in the near middle, but it goes towards Schoberg.
Well, there was a hand up there.
And Schoberg calling for a foul.
Calling for something. I don't know what he's calling for.
Were there a foul, it would have been a penalty kick.
Either a foul, a pushing foul, or a handball. There were a lot of hands flying as that ball came over.
Officials, of course, are not too quick to call a foul in the penalty area because of the penalty shot, which most of the time is made. Here comes Trevor Francis. Here's the star of the Detroit Express by himself. But again, Bruce Wilson was the defender who knocked it away. The Express still on the attack, though. 5 minutes left with overtime.
Inevitably, Bruce Wilson.
No, 4 minutes. The clock was incorrect. It had 5. I thought it had to be lower than that. Now, unofficially, they say 4. Only the referee keeps the official time. Try to get a reading on it. Scoreboard clock is now in trouble. So we can't tell you how much time there is left in the overtime because it is stuck at 4 minutes. There is our unofficial timer showing 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Remember, it's very unofficial, but that's what we'll call it until we find out from the official. The referee is the only man who knows for sure. Now the scoreboard clock picks up, and it's the same as ours. 3:54 left in the second.
Good save there, Jim, by Coffey. Came out, not letting these balls that have got away from him upset him. Grasped the ball well, set an attack going. Granitza offside, I'm afraid.
Yep, another offside call. There was only the goalie between him and the goal, so he's offside. Ball goes to the other team. And that's Detroit in the orange, coming from left to right. As soon as a goal is scored, this game is over. If no goal is scored, we go to the shootout. And that is really exciting. Keith Burpee, he's had 3 goals today. There's another shot. Saved by Paul Coffey.
Well set up by Detroit, but again, the final shot, not enough steam in it. And players looking really very tired out there at the moment.
Jake Granitza down on that one, but he's all right.
I think he was down, almost glad to take a rest.
Yeah.
These players have done a heck of a lot of running in this game so far.
Remember, 90 minutes of regular play, non-stop, and now we're in overtime. And a foul call.
Well, Bradford dodged off the ball by Schoberg.
Yeah.
Pretty clear foul. Referee right on top of the play.
For a striker, for a forward, Schoberg gets into a lot of the physical midfield action. Now, what's this one now? It's going to be free kick for Detroit. Here we come, a substitute. Niels Goldbjerg, number 18, coming in for the Detroit Express. They still have one other substitute left. He's replacing Eddie Calhoun, who was stunned in the first half in a head-to-head collision with his own goalie, Jim Brown. Again, that was the ever-present Martini kicking it away. But here comes Detroit again. Down goes Mcdougal, but a whistle. And it's called against Mcdougal. So
yeah, Wilson and Mcdougal running for the ball together there, and Mcdougal doing a bit of elbowing, I think. Wilson went down. What a game he's had, this Bruce Wilson. I'm really so impressed with him this afternoon.
We might point out, as Detroit gets the ball again, that substitution may well have been for the purpose of the shootout that occurs, because the men on the field, when the sudden death overtime ends, are the only men who can participate in the shootout. And Goldbjerg may be a better shot than Calhoun. Here comes Chicago. Remember, 1 goal and it's over. Here's Martini. He's set up 2 goals already. Tied up. Well, I think by Sargent.
The linesman is saying that that's a foul on Martini. I think that's a little harsh. I think that really should have gone the other way. I think Sargent was clearly obstructing Martini by holding that ball between his legs.
1 minute and 50 seconds left in the second sudden death overtime. Detroit on the move. Burpee moving towards the middle. But here it comes over to Mcdougal, then to Burpee, but just missed him. 3 goals for this 20-year-old. Goal kick for Chicago. They'll put the ball in play with 1 minute, 30 seconds to go, exactly. Coffey has not competed in a shootout yet, by the way. It'll be the first one for him if it occurs. Still 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. There's Christensen moving it forward for Long. He saw Long coming from behind him. Nice play. Now over to Wrestle, number 25. Wrestle. Sam Oates, the defender of Wrestle, has a muscle pull or something, so he's not there at the moment. Christensen has the ball. There's an extra man for Chicago. There's Strenister. The defender still down near the corner. Up it. for Chicago. The ball kicked away by Mick Coop.
I think Steve Long, somebody had a hand up on that one. It looked like a muscle pull or a cramp.
It was Sam Oates, number 5.
He pulled up very suddenly. That wasn't a contact thing. I don't think he made contact with the player, did he? It was just a running thing, and he just pulled up and limped and fell down to where he is now. And this, of course, is what happens in the late stages of a game. They're very tired indeed, these players.
That's trainer Carl Glass out on the field as the referee calls injury time with 48 seconds left in the second sudden death overtime.
The referee is doing something quite extraordinary now. He's allowing the game to go on.
Oh, yeah.
Oates is still on the field.
Well, he stopped it momentarily, but now the game goes on, as does happen in soccer. It's a continuous action game. Injured man being ministered to while the play goes on. Strenister with a shot. We have 33 seconds left in the second sudden death overtime. Chicago with a corner kick. Here's another chance for them. Granitza in the middle, along with Schober. Here it comes, kicked away by Keith Burpee. The clock may not be right, remember. The referee has the only official time, but the clock shows 15 seconds left in the sudden death. Free kick for Detroit. Keith Burpee taking it. 14 seconds unofficially left. And another free kick for Detroit. Now, has he stopped the clock? He stopped the clock with 9 seconds to go. Why? Now he says play on.
He's having a disagreement with a player there, just telling him what he thinks of him.
5 seconds unofficially. Looks like we're going to go to the shootout if that clock is right. It should maybe over. Nope. The clock shows it's over, but play goes on. The referee's watch shows differently. Is that it?
That is it.
That's it. We're going to see for the first time on ABC the shootout. 1-on-1 against the goalie. 5 men for each team. Stay with us. It's not Wide World of Sports, but it sure is something. McKay with Paul Gardner and Vern Lundquist reporting on the most exciting North American Soccer League game we've seen in our first season of telecasting this sport. It's 5-5, Chicago and Detroit. They've had 2 sudden death overtime periods. No one has scored. They now go to the shootout. Each coach will designate 5 players. Each of those 5 players will go 1-on-1 against the opposing goalie, alternating teams as they shoot. The man gets 5 seconds to shoot. He can move around. He starts from the 35-yard line. It's not a straight kick from the penalty spot. The goalie also has his choice of coming out and challenging the shot or of staying back on the goal line. Most of the times, I understand, they come out and challenge. 5 seconds to shoot. At the end of 5 shots for each team, whichever team has the most points wins the game. If it's still tied, let's say one shot for each team successful, or 2 for each team, or none for each team, it then goes to 1 man for each team until suddenly someone has outshot the other.
A good shot there, Jim, of exactly where the... Well, we had a
put
good
it on a
shot
penalty. Now, normally...
That ball doesn't belong there, that's for sure.
Well, sometimes in Europe... Excuse me, Paul, but sometimes in Europe, a game will be decided on penalty shots. In that case, the ball would be placed where you see it. The goalie would be on the goal line and would not be allowed to move his feet until the shot was taken. Well, this is a different situation. They're not going to start from where you see the ball. They'll start from that stripe across the field, the 35-yard line, something which is used only in the North American Soccer League. And it'll be a man starting from that mark, the goalie either staying in the goal mouth there or moving out, but only 5 seconds to shoot. There is no clock visible on the field. We'll be trying to keep an eye on it for you, but the referee, of course, is the only man who will know for sure. There's Bruce Wilson.
Now, he, of all people to take the first kick, I mean, this is quite a responsibility, because if you miss the first kick, you get behind in this series. You'll see what happens. The goalkeeper, in fact, won't stay on his line. The goalkeeper will come out. But the question is, how far does he come out? How much pressure? The pressure really is on the kicker here. It's not on the goalkeeper. Nobody really expects the goalkeeper to save. Well, we have a kicker in Bruce Wilson, but we don't have a goalkeeper. Well, here comes Jim Brown. This is Bruce Wilson, who's going to take the kick.
Wilson has had 2 shots in shootouts this year. He's made 1. He's 500. 1 for 2.
Okay, lads.
Now, there are various techniques that they can adopt here. There's Wilson on the right of your screen, Brown walking towards the goal. As soon as the whistle goes, Wilson will run that ball forward. Brown will come out of his goal. Now, the question is, at what point does Wilson shoot? Does he try and get it over Brown as he comes out? Does he try and challenge it and dribble it round him?
Okay, a lot of the crowd, by the way, is moving towards the end zone for a good look at the shootout procedure. Okay, there's Brown. There's the goalie.
It's like a sprinter ready to take off.
Wilson about to move. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all he gets. 5 seconds. Try your old 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. He's got to shoot. And he makes it. That's 1 for Chicago. Well, now, we'll have a member of the Detroit Express try his shot. Remember, 5 players for each side before it can be over.
Again, I think Wilson picked his timing perfectly there, because if you get too close to the goalkeeper is either going to block it or you're simply going to hit the goalkeeper. It's not even a save. If you leave it too late, of course, you're 5 seconds for it.
Now, little David Bradford, 5'5", scored a critical goal for Detroit in regular time. Bradford 1 for 3 on shootouts so far this year. And now he's evened it. It's still even, as it's been so much of this long afternoon.
Another well-taken shot, Jim, under the goalkeeper. And in fact, he got that shot off with about a second and a half to spare. Goalkeeper coming straight out towards him, wide of the goalkeeper, just inside the post. We've had some excellent shooting all around this afternoon with people just getting the ball inside the post.
Now Gene Streniser for Chicago. It's still tied. This is the second of the 5 men for each team to shoot. Challenges the goalie. No, it's a save by Jim Brown. Now the advantage, you might say, goes to Detroit.
Yep, advantage Detroit without a doubt. And again, I think maybe Streniser left us a little bit too long. He allowed Brown to get too close to him. And there's the ball literally hitting Brown. Brown turned away from it, waved his right arm, and that's what it hit.
Roberto de Oliveira, number 17, came into the game in the closing minutes. He's an American who was raised in Brazil, trying to give the lead to his team, and he does. Well, Detroit now 2 in the shootout. Is that a happy guy?
The Oliveira doing something which you don't see too often in the shootout. Took his shot very early. I don't think Paul Coffey was ready for that one. He's running in, and he's not waiting for the goalkeeper. He's outside the penalty area, and he left foots it wide of the goalkeeper and in. He took that shot very early, with only about 2.5 seconds gone of his 5 seconds.
Now we have Steve Long, another young American, this time for Chicago, however. He's from Wheaton College, trying to tie it up. But if he does, it'll still be advantage Detroit, as we say. And he missed it. Seemed to have the goalie beaten, but he missed the shot. Now the Detroit Express is in a commanding position. If they could score this time, they will not quite have won it, but they'll be very close. It'll be 3-1 with only 2 men left. And it's going to be Paul Hunter. Happens to be from my hometown, Westport, Connecticut. He will be objective, however. Hunter tries to give his team flat missed it.
He certainly
looked like he tripped.
Comprehensively missed that one. I think that might be an AstroTurf jinx there. He certainly stubbed his toe or did something on that. That'll be one he'll want to forget about, and I think we'll draw a veil over that.
So it's 2-1. The Express over the Sting. 2 men left. And here we have Peter Ressel, the right wing for Chicago. They trail by 1 in the shootout. Ressel 1 for 1 in shootout so far. And he hit the post. And he's not allowed to follow his own shot.
Exactly. He doesn't get a second chance. Now that was in a way, that was the best taken shootout kick we've seen. He got it over him, he thumped it, and he curved it. Now watch how this ball curves. He doesn't wait for the goalkeeper to come. He hits it. Look at that curving in, but not the inside of the post too. Well, that may be Chicago's game gone right there on that one.
And guess who? Trevor Francis can win it for Detroit. If he scores, it's all over. Here comes the goalie. There's the shot. Detroit has won by 6-5. Appropriately, the star of the team, one of the new sport heroes of the Detroit area, Trevor Francis from Nottingham Forest in England, has done it. What a long afternoon it's been. Just short of 2.5 hours of marvelous, exciting soccer. It wasn't sloppy, really, Paul. You might expect a 6-5 game would be, but there was a lot of good play.
There was a lot of good play, but as I say, the defenses were a bit loose. This is Francis' winning shot, right straight on the edge of the area, hit with the inside of his right foot as the goalkeeper dived under him, and again, just inside that post. We saw some errors, but we saw some excellent shooting, too.
Another look at Trevor Francis with the shot that won the game, just as he won the European Cup final for Nottingham Forest against Malmo of Sweden not too long ago. One final look at it.
He's going to be worn out before he's finished that.
Okay. Again, the final score is Detroit 6, Chicago 5. Stay tuned for ABC's Wide World of Sports now, featuring coverage of the Firecracker 400 stock car race from Daytona Beach, Florida.